Chapter 1645. Before he could finish his sentence, a strong gust of wind came from behind Su Yun. Although Naka did not dare to fight the two of them head-on, he still had a chance to fight with his life in the face of Su Yun's unilateral threat. If he could control Su Yun, he could at least force the other party to withdraw. If Chiu Heng wanted to pretend to be a good person, then he would let him pretend to the end. The more he thought about it, the angrier Naka became. He directly turned around and attacked Su Yun with his whip and hammer. Generally speaking, this kind of powerful Muay Thai move was to use the momentum to spin around and sweep the enemy's head and face with the other arm when the punch missed. It was a move that sacrificed one's body to seek merit. However, the power of this whip and hammer was enormous. If the opponent was caught off guard, it would be easy to kill him in one blow. That was why Naka, who was eager to win, came up and played ruthlessly. However, Su Yun's reaction speed far exceeded Naka's imagination. Just as his whip and hammer were about to hit the back of Su Yun's head, Su Yun dodged and slid away. His footsteps were exquisite and flexible, seemingly light but unpredictable, causing Naka's elbow to miss. One had to know that Naka's elbow strike was a very practical and powerful move in Muay Thai. It was known as the Dragon Gate of Battle. Naka's elbow movement was beautiful, and he definitely inherited the attack techniques used by Muay Thai experts. The use of the elbow was to look for the right time in actual combat and suddenly turn around to attack. If the enemy was careless, they would definitely be calculated. Therefore, the essence of the elbow technique was to win by surprise. Naka's elbow had indeed inherited the essence of winning by surprise, but Su Yun was still able to dodge within his attack range. It was because of Su Yun's exquisite footsteps, which were both real and fake, like a wave, causing people to be completely confused. It must be known that although Su Yun's swimming dragon steps was not as exquisite as the wave-like subtle steps that had been lost in the martial arts world, it still followed the principle of impermanence. It was as if danger was at the same time as safety, and it was difficult to advance and stop. It was the essence of moving forward and returning at the same time. Therefore, the swimming dragon steps might not be able to be compared with the wave-like subtle steps in terms of escaping, but in terms of dodging, it was comparable. Su Yun knew that Naka had long surpassed the realm of Muay Thai experts. Normally, those so-called Muay Thai experts were at best performing Muay Thai masters. They could indeed kill ordinary people with one blow, but they had no chance against experts like Su Yun and the others. The terrifying thing about Naka was that his strength had long since broken through the realm of a Muay Thai master. He was also an expert who had peeked into the door. Moreover, he could fuse Muay Thai moves and martial arts into one. If he didn't go astray, this fellow would definitely be an admirable genius expert. Facing Su Yun's exquisite dodging footsteps, Naka was somewhat flustered and helpless. However, he could still find an opportunity to attack. The moment he realized that Su Yun had appeared behind him, he kicked out with a crocodile tail swing. The power of the swing kick was enormous. Naka's momentum and waist and legs were both very powerful. This backward kick was even more threatening. Moreover, Naka's foot rotation and leg movement were quite sudden. The power of this 1000-gene heavy hammer could not be underestimated. As long as Su Yun was slightly careless and negligent, it would be very easy for him to be hit. This Naka was a sudden attack, so it was even harder to guard against. It was already not easy for Su Yun to react in time. Naka's 3 axes rushed towards Su Yun, but all of them were empty. Even Chiu Heng, who was beside him, widened his eyes and let out an incredulous sigh. He suspected that he might not even be able to deal with Naka's fierce attack so easily, but Su Yun seemed to be more than enough to deal with all of this. Su Yun was indeed as unfathomable as he had imagined. Chiu Heng was glad that he had done everything. Otherwise, he would be the one standing on the deck facing Su Yun today. With Su Yun's strange footsteps, he would probably be played around like Naka without being able to take advantage of him, right? The red-eyed Naka was a little unscrupulous. When Su Yun's middle defense revealed a gap, Naka actually sacrificed himself to make a move. He suddenly jumped up and directly hit Su Yun's face with his head. This hermit's act of throwing himself into the lake and flying headfirst into the water was simply an act of sacrificing 800 of his own men to kill 1,000 of his enemies. Just based on this move of Naka's, he had already admitted his defeat. Otherwise, why would he use such a desperate move? But even so, his sacrificial attack still did not achieve his goal. Su Yun's hands were flat on his chest. The moment he blocked Naka's head-on attack, he flipped his Tai Chi cloud hand, and Naka was directly thrown to the other side by the force. Good. Chiu Heng couldn't help but exclaim. This was really too exquisite. Naka was so dizzy that he couldn't even find his sense of direction after landing. Tai Chi cloud hand. Naka's face was filled with surprise. Muay Thai was all about firmness and fierceness. Other than firmness and fierceness, there was still firmness and fierceness. Throwing, reversing joints, pouncing, ground fighting, flying, head-on, and even eye-stabbing, all had a firmness and fierceness. The elbow fist technique, the elephant's tusk, and the leg technique, the stag's horn, were all known for their firmness and fierceness. But this Tai Chi was about using softness to conquer hardness. Naka was completely stunned. Then what the hell was he fighting for? He was the one who was subdued. He was the one who was tough. Despicable. Naka didn't know which tendon was pulled, but he suddenly said these two words, "You are not fighting with me one-on-one at all. Using such a despicable move, what kind of gentleman are you?" Despicable move? Su Yun almost laughed to tears. This was the first time he heard that Tai Chi cloud hand, which used softness to conquer hardness, was a despicable move. This Naka's brain was really strange. In his eyes, other than Muay Thai, all other moves were despicable moves. Even if there were many tricks in Muay Thai, they were definitely not despicable fist techniques. Naka, if you can't afford to lose, then don't say anything about one-on-one. If you are a man, then fight with the attitude a man should have. Don't make excuses for your incompetence. Chiu Heng said disdainfully, "Do you want to change opponents halfway through? Let me play with you one-on-one?" Naka spat and shamelessly said, "You guys are really despicable enough. You want to use a wheel war to deal with me?" Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I haven't even made a move yet. What kind of wheel war is this?" It seems that although Naka's strength is strong, his mentality is so fragile that it can even be said that he can't withstand a single blow. It's just that after a few moves, he couldn't take it anymore and began to shout. This kind of person's mind is really narrow-minded. If you think that it's only fair to fight with hardness, then I'll promise you fairness. Su Yun said indifferently. Just now, he used this method of using softness to conquer hardness because he really couldn't figure out Chiu Heng's strength. After these few exchanges, Su Yun also had a general understanding. Chiu Heng didn't expect Su Yun to agree to Naka's unreasonable request so readily. "Brother Yun, he can't afford to lose and is acting shamelessly. Since he doesn't accept the method of using softness to conquer hardness, then I can only use hardness to conquer hardness." Su Yun smiled slightly. "I like to make others accept their defeat wholeheartedly." Chiu Heng smiled bitterly. This Su Yun really made him unable to understand. However, now he was even more curious. It seemed that his biggest threat in the Pacific Ocean, Naka, was really not a worthy opponent in Su Yun's eyes. Hearing that Su Yun still wanted to use strength to overcome strength, Naka, who had always been fierce in his moves, immediately turned red. This feeling of being looked down upon was really not good. "Then let's give it a try. Let's see if your fist is harder or if my fist is harder." As soon as he finished speaking, Naka suddenly jumped up. He raised his elbows in the air and used the momentum of his body to smash down on Su Yun's head. This was the war elephant tusk in Muay Thai. It was an extremely dangerous elbow move. Once it hit the opponent, it could easily kill them. Chapter 1646. This time, Naka was really going all out. This was a desperate blow. When a person leaped into the air, their attacks would indeed be more powerful because of the falling momentum, but their bodies would also be unable to dodge quickly because of the soaring momentum. Therefore, this was the time when a person's defense was at its weakest. If someone were to make a move at this time, Naka would definitely be severely injured. However, this person could not be Su Yun. Su Yun could not risk being killed by the war elephant's teeth to attack. Lin Ge had long since fallen into a chaotic battle, and it was difficult for him to escape. If Chiu Hang were to make a move now, Naka would really be in danger. Chiu Hang was naturally very clear about this, but the explosive power that he had just unleashed was still suppressed by him at the critical moment. He couldn't do this, he really couldn't do this, because he was a person who abided by the rules. A duel was a duel. If he interfered, it would be a great disrespect and insult to Su Yun. Therefore, no matter how much Chiu Hang wanted to use this opportunity to attack Naka, he still forcefully endured it. In the face of principles, he could never be as unrestrained as Naka. Chiu Hang smiled bitterly. He didn't know if it was because of his own principles or because of something else. If it was reversed, Naka would have the chance to kill Chiu Hang now. Chiu Hang believed that Naka would never miss such an opportunity. As long as he could give the Beluga Whale Society a chance to deal a heavy blow, no matter how despicable, no matter how shameless, Naka would not hesitate and show no mercy. In the end, Chiu Hang, who did not make a move, could only watch as Naka attacked Su Yun's head with the war elephant's teeth. In fact, if Su Yun wanted to resolve this move, it would not be too difficult. As long as someone knew Tai Chi, they would not be afraid of this kind of fierce momentum. If Su Yun could use Cloud Hand to resolve Naka's previous attack, he could also use this method to resolve Naka's attack. However, Su Yun was a principled and willful person. Since he had said that he would use strength to overcome strength, then he would definitely not use Tai Chi Cloud Hand to resolve this move. Even though Naka had used his body to sink and his strength had reached its limit, Su Yun believed that he could withstand it based on his previous judgment of his strength. Su Yun took a horse stance and took root in his lower body. If he wanted to use strength to overcome strength, then he would have to use the strongest fist technique. Literature has the Taiji to bring peace to the world. Martial arts has the 8 extremes to stabilize the universe. Since Tai Chi could not convince Naka wholeheartedly, then Su Yun would use this fierce and crisp Baji fist to fight him. Loyal and courageous, using his body as a shield, sacrificing himself for no one but himself, taking the lead in the face of danger. This was the 16-word formula of Bajiquan. Therefore, Su Yun did not dodge Naka's elbow that was about to fall from the sky. He steadied his lower body because the 8 extremities sword art focused on ferocity and violence. When one attacked, one had to move like a drawn bow and release it like a thunderclap. Without a stable lower body, how could he display such a ferocious momentum? Su Yun's body was like a drawn bow, full of strength. His fists were released from his waist, and all the strength in his body was transmitted to his fists. It was so sudden, and this violent and unstoppable momentum completely shocked Chiu Hang. Chiu Hang really couldn't imagine that Su Yun, who was still extremely flexible just now, could actually turn into an extremely fierce Bajiquan expert in the blink of an eye. What a good infinite style of converging breath, progressive hammer shaking the heavens. The moment Su Yun's fists collided with Naka's elbows, the entire ship even shook. The strength of the two of them definitely exceeded the understanding of ordinary people. Even Chiu Hang was completely shocked. Naka had always thought that his elbows, which were invincible, were faintly aching. This kind of numbing pain was something he had never felt before. Even when he smashed the boulder with his elbows, he didn't feel this kind of pain. Su Yun's fingers were also numb and trembling. One had to know that Naka's iron elbow was comparable to steel and iron bones. This was almost the hardest thing that Su Yun had ever hit with his fist in his life. Neither of them had any advantage in this attack. If there was one person who had suffered a loss, it was still Naka. The psychological blow he had suffered could not be described with words. The other party's softness made him unable to find north at all, and the other party was also so hard, and so indestructible. How could he fight? He didn't know where an unknown anger came from, but Naka exploded again. He was like a berserk beast, a mountain god sweeping the earth, blocking the kick, spinning around, and knocking back the elbow. Followed by an old monk sweeping the courtyard, sweeping the foot and bending the elbow. Every move was closing in on Su Yun. Su Yun was also angry. He raised his palm and legs and ran to chase the wind, twisting and pouncing on the tiger. Chopping the white crane's wings, shaking the feet and shaking the hair in all directions. The two of them punched and kicked together. This strength and this speed were both displayed to the extreme by the two of them. Naka's extremely ruthless Muay Thai met Su Yun's extremely fierce Baji. It could be said that they were evenly matched. The two of them were locked in a fight for a while. Chiu Hung even regretted agreeing to Naka's bullshit duel conditions. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to pay attention to any rules now. He would just go up and help Su Yun, ending the battle quickly and directly crippling Naka. But at this time, Chiu Hung thought of another thing. He couldn't let Naka die. If Naka died, the Sharks gang would be scattered, and the balance of power in this sea would be broken. Without this point of mutual restraint, it might not be a good thing for the Beluga whale gang. First, Naka could no longer contain those rioting small gangs, and these troubles would inevitably be transferred to the Beluga whale gang. Of course, this was not the most important thing. Another important reason was that once Naka's Sharks gang was gone, wouldn't the Beluga whale gang stand out from the rest of the ancient Magpie World's hunters? When the ancient Magpie World's people started to attack them, their Beluga whale gang would inevitably fall into the same situation as the Sharks gang. They always wanted to develop, but were always restricted. The Beluga whale gang, who followed the old pirate rules, didn't have it easy to recruit new blood. If Headmaster Gu's people dealt with a few of them every few days, the Beluga whale gang would inevitably go downhill. Thinking of this, Chiu Hung was really at a loss. For the Beluga whale gang to be able to secure their position as the overlord of this sea, they really couldn't do without the restraint of the Sharks gang in all aspects. If not for him, the Beluga whale gang wouldn't be where they were today. Seeing Su Yun and Naka's fight becoming more and more inextricable, Chiu Hung's emotions became more and more nervous. He couldn't let Naka die. He couldn't let the Sharks gang die in today's battle with them. He wouldn't get any benefits if that happened. After a dozen or so moves, Naka panted and retreated to avoid Su Yun's fierce attacks. He began to realize that things were not going well because his stamina couldn't keep up with Su Yun's stamina. Muay Thai was fierce, but it required a lot of strength for every move. Therefore, this was a severe test for Naka's stamina. Usually, there were very few people who could withstand 3 moves from him, so he had never considered storing stamina. After this fight with Su Yun, he already felt that his stamina was seriously overdrawn. If this went on, he had no hope of winning. However, Su Yun's stamina was much better than his. This might have something to do with Su Yun's luck. Su Yun wasn't as lucky as Naka, who could always defeat opponents in 3 to 5 moves. He had faced all kinds of opponents in his life, and these opponents really gave him a headache. He rarely solved a problem in 2 or 3 moves. This Naka was also a tough bone. Su Yun couldn't say anything. If he knew that this bone was so tough, he wouldn't have played with this tough bone. In the end, the one who had to struggle was himself. Because Su Yun had constantly faced and challenged strong enemies in his life, his stamina became more and more durable as he overdrew time and time again. Just like the dozen or so moves that Naka had made, although each move was fierce, he still had a certain amount of stamina left. Chapter 1647. It was easy to distinguish a person's strength. When physical strength became the deciding factor for success or failure, it was by no means luck. This was just like the Super Bowl, the World Cup, the American Professional Basketball League, and other sports competitions. Physical strength was an important factor that definitely affected the final critical moment. Without stamina, even if they did manage to shoot at the last moment, it would only be 8 feet away from the goal. What was the use of that? It was just like Chinese football. Each and every one of the team members looked as if they had played the whole night. Their bodies were weak, and they did not know how to position themselves on the field. They walked around like idiots. Could they become a strong team? No matter how good the technique was, no matter how strong the ability was, no matter how accurate the shot was, it still required physical strength. This was even more true for martial artists. However, Naka's physical strength was his biggest weakness. This weakness was not because of his laziness, but more because of his talent in Muay Thai. It was because of his talent in Muay Thai that his physical strength could not keep up. There were many fatal moves in Muay Thai, such as the war elephant's teeth that Naka used just now, the hermit throwing himself into the lake, and the stag's horn, catfish's sting, monkey soaring, and so on. Not every person who practiced Muay Thai could use them in actual combat. However, Naka was talented in this area. His personal ability was definitely a genius among Muay Thai fighters. He could learn these difficult moves in the blink of an eye. It was because these fatal moves were quite simple and skillful in his hands that he could defeat his opponent in a short period of time every time he fought with him. Because he could defeat his opponent in a short period of time every time, Naka began to have his own ideas. He suddenly felt that as a person who practiced Muay Thai, physical strength didn't matter at all. The most important thing was explosive power. As long as he had enough explosive power, he would be invincible. This idea did give Naka confidence to a certain extent. His increasingly powerful explosive power made it harder and harder for him to meet an opponent. His fatal move could often kill in one blow. Even if he met someone of similar strength, after 3 moves, it would still make people tremble without fighting. This was why Chiu Hang was worried about Su Yun when he saw Naka start to make a move. It was indeed scary enough. Even an expert at Chiu Hang's level would not want to take the first 3 blows from him. It was too sinister, too vicious. As for the later part, Naka became more and more powerless. What was worse was that Su Yun's fighting style was even more deadly. Every move and every style was still strong and fierce, forcing Naka to have no power to resist. The fierce nature of Bajiquan was fully displayed. This series of attacks made Naka completely unable to bear it. Just as Naka retreated and finally dodged Su Yun's attack, Chiu Hang found an opportunity to stand up and speak. He seemed to want to humiliate Naka, but in fact, he stopped Su Yun from continuing to attack Naka to a certain extent. "Naka, you've already lost. What else is there to say? Do you really want to continue humiliating yourself?" Since Chiu Hang stood up, Su Yun could not give him face and could only stop. Chiu Hang sneered and looked at Naka. "How about we make a deal for the sake of not interfering with each other for so many years?" Naka also knew that he would lose if this continued. As long as he could save his life, it would be best if he could make a deal. "Captain Chiu, today's matter is ruthless. How much money do you want? Just say it. Talking about money will hurt feelings. Let's not talk about money." Chiu Hang said, "I don't need to repeat what my brother Yun's purpose is. You know it very well. I'll give you a person. Hand over my brother Yun's friend. Today's matter will be written off. The brothers of the Bai Jing clan will never make a move again. Your people, your money, I won't take a single cent. Is this a good deal for you?" This deal was really suitable. Naka was startled. He really did not expect that Chiu Hang would not use this opportunity to kill him directly. Since he was not going to kill him, he could only blame himself for not knowing how to seize the opportunity. "As long as I agree, you will take your people and leave immediately?" Naka tried to determine Chiu Hang's intentions. Chiu Hang nodded. Suddenly, he raised his gun and fired a shot. Everyone from the Bai Jing clan stopped what they were doing. Even Lin Guo was unsure if he should continue kicking the bastard in front of him. But seeing Naka's sorry state, Lin Guo knew that he was not Su Yun's opponent. It was not that Su Yun did not have a chance to kill him. Although Naka was powerful enough, he was not a match for an expert who had reached the profound world realm. Su Yun kept him alive for Phantom's sake. Now that Chiu Hang had considered this point, Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. Regardless of whether Chiu Hang's purpose was to maintain the balance of power in the sea region. If he really destroyed the Sharks clan in one go, there was nothing wrong with that. But if that was the case, they might really have to spend 3 to 5 days to find Phantom. Now that Chiu Hang had put forward this condition, Su Yun was still very much in favor of it. At least this way, he would not have to worry about Phantom. As for what would happen to Naka in the future, Su Yun was too lazy to care. People like Naka deserved to die, but whether he was killed or not, it would not change the situation here. The pirates in the Pacific Ocean were a mix of fish and dragons. Even if he killed Naka today, there would be a guy even more ruthless than Naka who would continue to create a gang like the Sharks clan. At that time, it would still be a scourge of this place. This was like a weed that could not be burned out no matter how hard it was burned. At first, people were good by nature, but after living for a long time, this good and evil began to change. Some people became kinder, so they became the side that could uphold justice, while some people were no longer kind and became evil. There were good and bad. This was the truth that could never be changed. Su Yun was no longer the Su Yun of the past. He would naively think that as long as he could kill all the bad guys in the world. One had to know that the bad guys in the world could not be killed. They could never be killed. You earn more in this deal. Chiu Heng nodded and said, "We only want one person, and you can protect you and all your people, including your islands." Hearing this, Naka looked up to the sky and laughed. "Ha ha ha ha, forget about this island group. If you, Captain Chiu, have the ability to break into me once, then you have the ability to break into me a second time. I'm not that stupid. If you want this island, I can give it to you. Save it." Chiu Heng said disdainfully, "I only want people." Su Yun looked at Chiu Heng gratefully. No matter what purpose Chiu Heng had, at least this was what Su Yun wanted to do. It was just that Su Yun couldn't speak so bluntly to Chiu Heng. Chiu Heng once again made him owe him a favor. "Good. I'll go release him now. From now on, we won't interfere with each other's business." Naka gritted his teeth. This was a result that Su Yun wanted to see the most. After Naka left, Su Yun finally thanked Chiu Heng. "Captain Chiu, I'll have to trouble you again. This has nothing to do with me. You were the one who personally beat him up." Chiu Heng said, "Brother Yun, I know what you're thinking. In fact, you had many opportunities to kill Naka directly, but you didn't do it. I understand, you're not just thinking about your friends, you must have also thought about me. You don't want to break the balance of this sea, do you?" Su Yun smiled and did not answer Chiu Heng's question. However, Chiu Heng himself understood that with Su Yun's intelligence, he would definitely be able to think of this. Rather than saying that he was giving Su Yun a favor, it would be better to say that Su Yun was also quietly returning a big favor to him. Chapter 1648. At that time, Phantom chose to board Naka's pirate ship because she was forced to do so. Only she knew what she had experienced. If she didn't find a place to rest and recuperate, what awaited her would be death. At that time, Phantom had no choice. This was the only path. However, because Naka's ship was a pirate ship, Phantom was still very vigilant. After boarding the ship, she used her innate concealment skills to hide in a place where no one could find her. This really puzzled everyone on Naka's ship. She disappeared after a meal, and she didn't even take away her boat. Could it be that she jumped into the sea? This matter also puzzled Naka for a long time, but it was already in the past, and they quickly forgot about it. However, when Naka and the others docked the next day, Phantom appeared again. Only then did Naka realize that this person had actually been on the ship all this time. It seemed that he was deliberately hiding and had some concerns about them. Having this ability is also an ability. Naka appreciated it very much. Phantom, who hadn't eaten for another day, had to show up because she needed to replenish her food. After their ship docked, all the ingredients were taken away, so if Phantom didn't come out again, there would be nothing to eat. However, her sudden appearance definitely shocked the group of people present in Naka. A woman had been on the ship for an entire day, and none of them had noticed. It was simply too inconceivable. Just based on this, Naka also had a whole new level of respect for Phantom. He immediately ordered his subordinates to entertain Phantom with good wine and good food. Naka still didn't say anything when he entertained Phantom. He just let her eat and drink to her heart's content, treating this place as his own home. After being replenished, Phantom disappeared again. No one could find her even when she was on a ship, let alone on such a big island. Naka's subordinates were also very surprised. They all expressed their desire to find someone, and Naka didn't stop them. However, after searching, no one could detect her figure. Later, everyone even thought that she had left. However, Naka didn't believe that she had left. What kind of place was this? It was impossible for anyone to leave under his nose. A day later, he prepared wine and food again. Sure enough, Phantom appeared again. At this time, Naka had basically determined Phantom's identity. For the past few days, Phantom had been recuperating. Other than when she came out to eat, she had been hiding in a place where no one could see her. After a few days of adjustment, Phantom had also recovered her chi, blood, and physical strength. At this time, she expressed her gratitude to Naka and requested to leave. Naka revealed her identity, which made Phantom, who couldn't lie, completely speechless. After confirming that Phantom was from the Shadow Clan, Naka naturally wouldn't let her leave. However, Naka wouldn't shed all pretense of cordiality. He tried to negotiate with Phantom to let her stay and assist him, but Phantom refused. This made Naka very dissatisfied, so Naka directly ordered people to control Phantom and lock her in a sealed secret room. Someone would take turns to stare at her 24 hours a day without blinking. This way, it would be impossible for Phantom to disappear again. How precious is a Shadow Clan member! Naka will never give up on a talent like this. He believed that if he used the same method to torture people, sooner or later, this Shadow Clan member would give up resisting and become a valiant general by his side. If Phantom hadn't met Su Yun, she might have really agreed. There was no loss to her. But now, it was impossible for Phantom to agree. She still had the mission that Su Yun had given her. She still had to complete what Su Yun needed her to do, so she absolutely couldn't agree to Naka's request. Phantom lived in a small circle that only belonged to her. Although she belonged to this era, she had no other contact with it. She didn't know what a lie was, what perfunctory was, and she didn't know what a scheme was, so she wouldn't deceive him. Therefore, she wouldn't even be perfunctory with Naka. She had tried to resist, but in the face of Naka, she was still subdued and imprisoned. After all, Naka's strength was not simple. To be able to exchange so many blows with Su Yun, there was no chance of winning if Phantom fought him head-on. This was the second day that Phantom had been locked up. She had been thinking about how to escape from this place. When she really couldn't think of any way, she felt that familiar aura. That's right, just like how Su Yun and Lin Gu could feel her existence, she could clearly feel the appearance of Su Yun and Lin Gu. Phantom instantly became enlightened. She never thought that Su Yun and Lin Gu would actually appear here. Finally, the secret room was opened, and Naka personally unlocked Phantom's shackles and handcuffs. He was reluctant to part with this Shadow Clan member, but if he used her in exchange for the Shark's calamity today, Naka still had nothing to struggle about. Although I've been imprisoning you for the past 2 days, that's because I had no choice. I just wanted you to join me. Naka said, but now that someone is looking for you, I don't have the ability to keep you. But to be honest, I've always treated you well, haven't I? Phantom didn't say anything, and her eyes were empty, as if there was nothing in them. Forget it. Naka sighed, just pretend I didn't say anything. If you hate me, your friend is outside. If he wants to change his mind, he can kill me at any time. He won't. Phantom turned around and left after saying this. This was her reward for Naka's hospitality. No matter what, at least Phantom didn't bite the hand that fed her. Naka had helped her, but he had also locked her up, so they were even. Phantom wasn't an overbearing person, and Su Yun wasn't an overbearing person either. Even if Naka was a bastard, even if he did it unintentionally, or if he had other motives, he had still helped Phantom when she was in danger. Just based on this, Su Yun would definitely leave Naka a way out, not to mention there were other reasons. Seeing Phantom's figure, the dark cloud that had been covering Su Yun's heart completely dissipated. It didn't matter if there was still no news or clues from that damned Mardi Fran Island, as long as Phantom was safe, that was good. In the end, Su Yun gave Naka a sincere thank you. But after this, they had nothing to do with each other. If he were to encounter Naka again, Su Yun would definitely not show mercy. Naka was not in the mood to think about Su Yun. He couldn't recruit such a person. Even if he did, he would have the ability to overpower his master. He couldn't raise such a subordinate. Sooner or later, he would be trampled under his feet. Chiu Hang evacuated Naka's lair as agreed, giving Naka a chance to breathe. Naka, who had suffered a great loss of vitality, also needed some time to recuperate. He believed that this matter would soon spread, and then his Beijing regiment's reputation would be even greater than the Sharks clan's. Naka smiled bitterly. At this time, he was still thinking about his bullshit reputation. It was better to be practical. He could still live. The Sharks clan hadn't been exterminated yet. That was already burning incense. He decided to pack up and leave the island overnight. He couldn't stay in this place any longer. Once someone could break through here, he was worried that the people from the ancient magpie world would take advantage of this and directly give him a heavier blow. Therefore, Naka decided to hide for a while and recuperate. Only then would he have a chance to make a comeback. Otherwise, the Sharks clan would really be destroyed in his hands. Facts proved that his decision was correct. The ancient magpie world who knew about this immediately arranged for Lone Wolf to bring people to suppress him again. But Naka escaped early, and Lone Wolf Tang Yiping directly pounced on empty air. Chapter 1649. To be able to find Phantom, Su Yun and Lin Ge did not waste half a month of their time. Although Phantom did not bring Su Yun any clues about Marty Franz Island, Su Yun still felt very fortunate. Indeed, at least they still had Phantom. After the battle between the Beluga clan and the Sharks, although they did not completely wipe out the Sharks, they still shocked the world. Everyone knew who the Pirate King of the Pacific Ocean was. Whether they were convinced or not was one thing, but whether they dared to touch it was another. Wherever the Beluga clan's flag went, the pirates there would obediently lie down. Even the Sharks were a tough nut to crack. Who else could not be bitten by Chiu Heng? Naturally, no one was willing to look for trouble. Most of the time, people hoped that they could get more, and Chiu Heng was no exception. However, Chiu Heng was a sensible person. He knew how to control his greed. Although he had spent a lot of energy and money because of Su Yun, and lost a dozen brothers because of helping Su Yun save people, Chiu Heng still stopped recruiting Su Yun. In the battle between Su Yun and Naka, Chiu Heng could see how terrifying Su Yun's strength was. He was very sure that he was not Su Yun's opponent. Moreover, he felt that even Dongfang Fan, the #1 warrior under Headmaster Gu of the Hunter School, might not necessarily be Su Yun's opponent. The battle between Su Yun and Naka also made Su Yun famous. His value went from a bounty of 60 million to 75 million. Although Su Yun's bounty of $75 million was less than Chiu Heng's of $77 million, Chiu Heng firmly believed that Su Yun's strength was definitely higher than Dongfang Fan's, who was worth $80 million. Of course, these were all things that Chiu Heng understood in his heart. For such a person, Chiu Heng understood that even if he wanted to recruit him, he would not have the strength to do so. Su Yun even had a special temperament, the temperament of a leader. People like him were born to be leaders and would never be used by anyone. Hence, Chiu Heng gave up on recruiting Su Yun. He gave up on this person who could help him achieve dominance in the Pacific Ocean. So much so that he had once thought that if Su Yun were to establish himself as king, he would even consider joining him and becoming his assistant. This kind of person was born with the temperament of a king. After figuring everything out, Chiu Heng was suddenly enlightened. He had led the Beluga Whale Regiment in the Pacific Ocean for many years, but he had never been able to achieve absolute hegemony. This also made him realize a problem. Perhaps he could only achieve what he had today because he was not a man who could become a king. Su Yun was very grateful for everything that Chiu Heng had done for him, especially when he had asked to leave. Chiu Heng had sincerely sent him off as a friend. This was what Su Yun was most grateful for. Although the two of them were not on the same path and did not share the same values, Su Yun would still treat Chiu Heng as a friend. Perhaps this was the feeling of friendship between gentlemen being as indifferent as water. In fact, friends were not that difficult to understand. Different people had different definitions of friends. Su Yun and Chiu Heng did not have much of a friendship, but to a certain extent, this kind of friendship was far more than many people who had known each other for many years. Many young people thought that a group of buddies who secretly skipped class and took turns smoking in the toilet were friends. A group of people who carried bricks and machetes to fight together were friends. A group of people who went to bars in the middle of the night and drank until they had a hangover and then brought a girl with no self-respect to her to have sex were friends. Of course, these were friends, but they were not real friends. They were all doing bad things under the banner of loyalty that no one dared to do alone. Only those who could stand up for you at a critical moment were friends. However, this was on the premise that they would stand up and do something that would help you. If someone shot you, those who dared to take the bullet for you were friends. However, those who held a gun for you were not friends. A real friend would not do anything that might be disadvantageous to you. Everything that Chiu Hang did for Su Yun, not only did he consider Su Yun, but he also considered himself. Everything he did was for everyone to have a better outcome and answer, so he was definitely a qualified friend. Lin Gu also thought highly of Chiu Hang. He felt that if Chiu Hang continued like this, with the accumulation of time, he would definitely become a white-haired old man in the Pacific Ocean. Chiu Hang really did not dare to accept Lin Ji's words. A white-haired old man was a mythical existence to the pirates of today and in the future. After bidding farewell to Chiu Hang, Su Yun and Lin Gu brought Phantom back to Hawaii. Phantom still did not like to meet people. After arriving at the hotel, Phantom did not speak much. She knew that Su Yun and Lin Gu had spent a lot of effort to find her. She was very unhappy because she did not find anything after coming to the Pacific Ocean. Even if she had just a little bit of information about Maudie Francis Island, she would not be as unhappy as she was now. Su Yun did not leave Hawaii immediately. He wanted to return the mahogany order to Yi Yuan and thank him in person. He wanted Yi Yuan to pass a message back to thank Principal Gu for his help. Moreover, he wanted to talk to Yi Yuan about Chiu Heng's problem. Bu Fifan did not come this time. After all, he was not on vacation at the Hunter Academy. He did not have the right to see his friends and family whenever he wanted. The extreme survival training had already begun. Bu Fifan had already left the hunting island with the rest of the team, following Lone Wolf Tang Yiping. However, what Su Yun did not expect was that Yi Yuan was not the only one who came to see him. Even Principal Gu came personally. When Yi Yuan saw Su Yun, he brought him to Principal Gu's suite. Su Yun was quite surprised. Gu Magpie Jie was much younger than he had imagined. After all, this person was from the same era as his godfather, Zhang Taisui. Even if he was younger, he could not be younger than 8 or 10 years. Young, truly too young. This was Su Yun's first impression of the ancient Magpie world. The person standing next to Gu Magpie Jie had an extraordinary aura. After Yi Yuan's introduction, Su Yun knew that he was the famous #1 instructor of the Hunter Academy, Zhue Ming, Dongfang Fan. Although Su Yun couldn't say that he was flattered by their arrival, he really felt that he couldn't accept it. Principal Gu, Instructor Zhue Ming, Brother Yi Yuan, Su Yun is truly grateful to have received so much help from all of you. As Su Yun spoke, he took out the mahogany token and handed it over with both hands. In the future, if there's anything you need me to do, as long as it's within my capabilities, I'll definitely be at your beck and call. We really didn't help you much. Gu Magpie Jie did not seem to be arrogant. He smiled and said, with my relationship with Elder Taisui, there are too many things that I should help you with. Principal Gu, please don't say that. Su Yun was startled. Gu Magpie Jie said that, but he did not feel guilty at all. There's nothing that I can't say. I feel that with my identity and my relationship with Elder Taisui, I should help you, but my personality doesn't allow me to do so. The more it's like this, the more I can't help you. This is because I believe that Elder Taisui's godson has the ability to deal with these trivial matters. As expected of the principal of the Hunter Academy. Su Yun smiled. Principal Gu, I realize that your personality is very similar to Elder Taisui's. Otherwise, how can we be brothers? Gu Magpie Jie laughed. Ha ha ha, kid, your performance has far exceeded my expectations. You're much stronger than I thought. I think if Elder Taisui knows about this, he'll be laughing when he plays chess with the King of Hell. Su Yun smiled and did not say anything. He was thinking about another problem. It was about Chiu Heng. He had not thought about how to bring this up to Gu Magpie Jie. After all, They were on opposing sides. If he wanted to speak up for Chiu Hang, it would be awkward. Faced with Gu Magpie Jie, Su Yun wanted to say something but hesitated. Chapter 1650. Gu Magpie Jie, who had seen countless people, could naturally see Su Yun's hesitation. He decided to break the deadlock. Su Yun, if you have something to say, just say it. As an elder, I'm a straightforward person. If there's anything you need me to do, don't hesitate to ask. Principal Gu, there are some things that I really don't know if I should say, Su Yun said. After all, we all have different standpoints, so we see things differently. What I'm about to say may only be from my point of view. You might think it's unreasonable, so I don't know if I should say it or not. Gu Magpie Jie smiled. There's no harm in saying it. We're already so old. How can we not understand what you're saying? For example, at your age, you think girls are beautiful, but at my age, I think mature women are more charming. At Zhue Ming's age, he should be more appreciative of young women. This is what it means to see things from different standpoints. I still understand such a simple principle. Don't worry, there's no harm in saying it. Principle. Why are you dragging me into this? When did I ever appreciate young women? Your words are easy to misunderstand. Dongfeng Fan was speechless. Headmaster Gu was such a person. When he was serious, he was more old-fashioned than anyone else. The way he spoke was unbearable, but sometimes, his words were so random that it made people completely confused. Isn't that what I'm saying? Gu Magpie Jie said. You don't have to explain. No one will care. The more you explain, the more I'll think that you're guilty. Dongfeng Fan was speechless. Yi Yuan, who was at the side, was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. It was not easy to see Principal Gu make a joke. He really enjoyed this kind of atmosphere. Su Yun's mind was filled with thoughts about how to talk about Chiu Hang, so he didn't get the chance to laugh. Since Gu Magpie Jie had said so, if he didn't say anything, it would seem too pretentious. He might as well grit his teeth and say it. Headmaster Gu, what kind of pirate gang do you think the Beluga clan is? Su Yun asked bluntly. Gu Magpie stopped joking, and his expression became serious. He wouldn't joke about the pirates of the Pacific Ocean. Since you said that they are a pirate gang, then of course they are a criminal gang that does illegal things to survive. Su Yun frowned. But I think they're different from the other gangs. Su Yun, I've heard of your experiences at sea. Many pirate leaders have sought you out, and they all have the same goal, to recruit you. Gu Magpie Jie continued, I'm sure Chiu Hang is the same. Let me put it this way, Chiu Hang is the most scheming pirate leader I know. Su Yun was stunned. Judging from the ancient Magpie Realm's words, he had a certain understanding of Chiu Hang. I've heard that Chiu Hang helped you, Gu Magpie Jie said. Ancient Magpie World said, it's normal for you to have some friendship. You don't have to feel uncomfortable because of your friendship with a pirate. Really, I understand. Su Yun realized that Gu Magpie Jie had misunderstood him. Headmaster Gu, that's not what I meant. I agree with you. There are no boundaries when it comes to making friends. If there are too many rules, then we can't be friends. Ancient Magpie Realm gave a soft "oh" before looking up at Su Yun. Then your consciousness is... I think I understand. Headmaster Gu, I really think that Chiu Hang's Beluga clan is different from the other pirates, Su Yun said. Gu Magpie Jie told him very clearly. Then let me tell you. In the whole world, other than the white-haired old man's pirate gang, no one is different from the others. Su Yun was surprised. Gu Magpie Jie also knew about the white-haired old man. Of all the pirates in the world, only the white-haired old man's pirate ships rob smugglers of their goods, Gu Magpie Jie said. As long as they have harmed ordinary people, they belong to the same category. Su Yun agreed. But Chiu Hang has robbed corrupt officials most of the time. Moreover, he only wants money, not lives. This is completely different from the sharks and other pirate gangs. But he has also harmed ordinary people, Gu Magpie Jie said. Indeed, he only wants money and not lives. But he is still a pirate. What do you think? Su Yun didn't say anything. Gu Magpie Jie continued, Actually, I've always thought highly of Chiu Heng's Beluga clan because he has never harmed anyone. That's why I've been dealing with pirate gangs like the Sharks and turned a blind eye to Chiu Heng's actions. Do you understand what I mean? You mean to say that Chiu Heng is indeed different from the others, so you won't touch him? Su Yun asked. Of course not. It's because I don't have enough energy to deal with him. Gu Magpie Jie said. If I had enough energy, if I had a few more brats like you under my command, I would definitely touch him. The only reason I've turned a blind eye to him is because I don't have enough energy. I'm sure he knows this as well. Su Yun really admired Gu Magpie Jie's straightforwardness. This kind of person was really straightforward. Su Yun, there's one thing I think you should understand, Gu Magpie Jie said. Why didn't Chiu Heng destroy the Sharks with your help? You've considered this question before, right? Tell me the truth. Su Yun nodded. Yes, I did consider this. I believe that if the Sharks were really destroyed, you would be able to focus most of your energy on dealing with the Beluga clan. Gu Magpie Jie laughed. So, in order to return Chiu Heng a favor, you went along with his wishes and gave the Sharks a chance to breathe. Headmaster Gu, I think that even if the Sharks were destroyed today, there would still be another powerful Shark clan. Tomorrow, another gang similar to the Sharks will rise again. This is something that is bound to happen in a region. Everything has a balance. Su Yun said, That's why I did it according to my own ideas. Gu Magpie Jie still had a smile on his face. You know, I'm very pleased that you did this according to your own ideas. You didn't do this because you were bewitched by Chiu Heng. Ha ha, you have your own ideas. Good, good. As expected of a good brat. This Gu Magpie Jie was really... Su Yun smiled helplessly. In short, I just wanted to express my opinion. Headmaster Gu, as I said at the beginning, we have different standpoints, so we might see different things and do different things. That's right. I admit that. Gu Magpie Jie said. But since you've spoken, I'll give you face. As long as Chiu Heng doesn't do anything out of line, I won't make things difficult for him. But if he does something out of line, I won't give him any face. Are you satisfied with this? Su Yun smiled embarrassedly. He didn't know what kind of request he had made. Was it laughable, or was it out of line? You're really considerate. Yi Yuan was a little speechless. The headmaster is more considerate than you. Young people shouldn't only look at one side of things. People who walk different paths can't make plans together. It's really strange that you and Chiu Heng can become friends in a sense. Su Yun knew that this was a little strange, but if he didn't say anything, there would always be this little knot in his heart. It had to be untied. If he didn't untie it, he would feel uneasy even when he went back. Now that he had said it, Su Yun felt much better. No matter what, he had done his best. Chapter 1651. Gu Magpie Realm didn't seem to want to ask too much about whether he should forgive Chiu Heng or not. He quickly changed the topic because he had to clarify something else. Your Shadow Clan friend came to this ocean alone and tried to help you accomplish something that should have been impossible. I really admire him. Su Yun lowered his head in self-mockery. This made him feel a little embarrassed. It was because of his miscalculation that Phantom almost got into this kind of trouble. If he and Lin Ge hadn't appeared here and encountered so many things, and if they hadn't met Chiu Heng, they wouldn't have had a chance to find Phantom. If Phantom had been imprisoned on Naka Island alone, she would have had to live a dark life. Thinking of this, Su Yun was a little scared. He really should have stopped Phantom from coming here, but because of his desire for Modifron's Island, he acquiesced to Phantom's choice. There's something I don't know if I should say, but I still want to ask. Has your Shadow Clan friend helped you find the clues you wanted? Or did he still find nothing? Gu Magpie Jie was probing. He had to figure out Su Yun's current situation. Some things could be controlled before they happened. Su Yun hesitated for a moment, then said, "He didn't find anything." "That's a pity." Although Gu Magpie Jie said it was a pity, his expression was one of relief. Indeed, if the Shadow Race had brought news of Modifran Island, he really didn't know what Su Yun would do. "There's nothing I can do to help you, I can only feel sorry for you," Gu Magpie Jie said. "Is this your expression of regret?" Not to mention Su Yun, even Dongfang Fan and Yi Yuan were speechless. They really wanted to pull the principal to the side and tell him that if he felt sorry for someone else, he shouldn't use this kind of secretly happy and relieved expression. It was too fake. "Headmaster Gu, you must know where Modifran's Island is, right?" Su Yun suddenly threw the question to the ancient magpie world. "I know, but you won't tell me even if I ask you. But if there comes a day when I really have no way out, I will still come and beg you." Gu Magpie was startled. This guy was too straightforward. Zhuo Langyue had just warned him that if he told Su Yun about the damned Modifran's Island, she would personally tear down his school. The ancient magpie world believed that Zhuo Langyue was not joking. She had the strength and courage to do so. If there was anyone in the world that the ancient magpie world didn't dare to provoke or even think about, it would be this woman who had a combination of courage, strength, and charm. "You've already said it so directly. I don't know how to be tactful anymore." Gu Magpie Jie also said bluntly, "It doesn't matter when you come to find me, whether you treat me as a friend or as an elder. But if you must ask me about Modifran's Island, I have only 4 words for you: no comment." Dongfang Fan was speechless. What was wrong with the headmaster today? He usually paid attention to the details when he spoke. If he really wanted to push Su Yun to the brink of death, then he should have just told him that he knew nothing about Modifran's Island. But what did he say? No comment. What did no comment mean? He was clearly telling Su Yun, "I know about Modifran's Island, but no matter what you ask me, I won't tell you." A Little Dragon's theme song faintly hovered in the air. "I have many secrets, I won't tell you, I won't tell you, I won't tell you." How infuriating! Not to mention that Su Yun really wanted to find that place. If Dongfang Fan encountered such a situation, he would have asked for it no matter what. But what shocked Dongfang Fan and Yi Yuan was that Su Yun didn't say much. He still humbly thanked the ancient magpie world, but he didn't say that if he had no comment, he would retreat. It seemed that he would definitely come back to visit again. Wait a minute. Dongfang Fan noticed the ancient magpie world's expression again. Looking at the ancient magpie world's expression, he felt that it was strange. Could it be that although the ancient magpie world's words were so harsh, he didn't think so in his heart? He seemed to be looking forward to Su Yun standing in front of him again. Where was the limit of this young man with unlimited potential? This was what the ancient magpie world was most concerned about now. It should be known that although the ancient magpie world wasn't the strongest expert in this world, he had become the person who nurtured the most experts in this world. This was because of his ability to judge people. He could basically judge where a young man's limit was. For example, his capable subordinates, whether it was Dongfang Fan or Yi Yuan, all of them had a peak and a limit of their own strength. Their final achievements were almost the same as the conclusion that the ancient magpie world had given when he first saw them. But the ancient magpie world couldn't see the limit of Su Yun. This was why the ancient magpie world was looking forward to it. Su Yun had broken through to the profound world realm at such a young age. In the eyes of many people, it seemed that this would be the peak of a person's life. After all, there were only a few people who could break through to the profound sky realm in the past 100 years. This made martial cultivators realize that the peak of perfection wasn't something that could be touched. Talent and hard work didn't equate to the peak in the end. The peak was really too far away. The ancient magpie world was also a martial cultivator genius, but his peak was only the 8th level of the profound world realm. He also had the strength of the profound world realm before the age of 30. But in the next few decades, he didn't stop pursuing the highest level, but still couldn't break through. Especially in the past 10 years, his strength couldn't break through. This was his limit, a limit that couldn't be broken through. The ancient magpie world used to think that the only person who could break through to the profound sky realm was Zhang Jianji. No one could prove whether Zhang Jianji finally reached the profound sky realm or not, but everyone knew that his strength was at the 9th level of the profound world realm. Su Yun, this kid, also broke through to the profound world realm before the age of 30. In this martial cultivator circle, there were fewer and fewer people like him. Even if there were, they would break through the limit many times and exhaust all their potential. But Su Yun's potential wasn't exhausted. The ancient magpie world could feel that Su Yun's potential was far more abundant than any other young man he had ever seen. The ancient magpie world couldn't see the limit of such a young man, so he couldn't judge where his limit was. After bidding farewell to the ancient magpie realm, Su Yun and the others also had to go back. Regarding the Mardi Fran Island prison for serious criminals, Su Yun had received a deep answer from the ancient magpie realm. If you want to go to the Mardi Fran Island prison for serious criminals, your strength is far from enough. If you really want me to tell you the place, then let me see if you have the ability to do so. The ancient magpie world's so-called no comment was no comment to a guy who could only die in vain. If it was a guy who could break the rules, the ancient magpie world would be happy to tell Su Yun everything he knew. This was also a challenge for Su Yun, so he wouldn't give up. After this torment, he also understood that if you wanted to do something that defied the heavens, you must first have the strength to do it. Otherwise, no matter how hard you tried, the final result was just a joke. The Mardi Franz Island's prison for serious criminals was a place that even Zhuo Langyue didn't touch. What ability did Su Yun have to subvert all this? When Su Yun left the Pacific Ocean, his smile was bitter, but his mind was suddenly a lot more open. Chapter 1652. After 2 transfers, Su Yun and the other 2 finally landed safely at Luting Airport in Qingdao. Feng Ye, who was working at the airport, didn't leave after she got off work. Because she was informed by Lin Gu, she waited until their flight landed at 8 p.m. During the 10-hour flight, Su Yun and Lin Gu were discussing something with Phantom. This was something that Su Yun thought Phantom would have to accept sooner or later. It was about whether she could try to adapt to living in front of everyone. They hoped that Phantom could live like a normal person and return her life to how it was a long, long time ago. To put it bluntly, they wanted her to live like her ancestors. Of course, they wanted her to live like before her clan was wiped out. Back then, the Shadow Clan was like a normal person, living under the sun. However, that painful history made them forget how to live like normal people bit by bit. They buried themselves in the deepest part of the world and became marginalized people far away from the mainstream of the world. Now, there was only Phantom, so this change was naturally even more difficult. Clearly, their earnest advice didn't have any effect. Phantom's struggle with this matter was far greater than Su Yun and Lin Gu expected. They couldn't understand Phantom's struggle in her heart. When the flight was about to land, Phantom finally agreed to give it a try, promising them that she would try her best. However, after the flight landed, Phantom still silently disappeared into the crowd of people walking towards the exit. Although Su Yun and Lin Gu could sense her presence, they couldn't find her at all. Clearly, although Phantom agreed to their request, it was still difficult for her to take the first step. After receiving Su Yun and Lin Gu, Feng Ye was very happy. She looked around and threw her doubts to Lin Gu. "Didn't you say there was a friend among the 3 of us? Where is she? Don't tell me you guys left her in there?" Lin Gu shrugged helplessly. She said she had something else to do, so she won't be coming back with us. Let's go. Let's leave her to her own business. Hee, I'm hungry. Can we order 2 pig trotters and pig knuckles? My stomach is growling. You. Feng Ye looked at Lin Gu and then at Su Yun helplessly. "Brother Yun, she's your friend. Since she's already on Qingdao, no matter how urgent the matter is, you can do it after dinner. Lin Gu is immature and let her go. You should stop him." Su Yun was also helpless. Feng Ye directly treated their actions as immature and didn't know how to do things. We really tried to make her stay, but she ate on the plane, so we can't force her. Although Su Yun explained, Feng Ye still looked at Lin Gu and said, It must be because you weren't enthusiastic enough. If you were more enthusiastic, she wouldn't be able to refuse your kindness. Lin Gu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He wasn't enthusiastic enough? He was about to kneel down in front of Phantom. If kneeling down could help Phantom integrate into the lives of ordinary people, Lin Gu would really dare to do so. The problem was that this couldn't solve Phantom's psychological problem. Phantom couldn't integrate into this ordinary society and live like an ordinary person because she couldn't let go of the constant requests from her people. It was already very impressive that she could show her trust in front of Su Yun and Lin Gu. After all, Feng Ye was an ordinary person. She didn't know so many things. She also didn't know about the glory of the Shadow Clan in this world. So even if they explained it to her, she wouldn't understand. Let's go back. Leave me at the hotel. You guys go home and rest early. Su Yun smiled slightly. They say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. I took the pigeon out for so many days. Don't blame me. Feng Ye blushed. Brother Yun, you can't insult people like that. Aren't you guys hungry? I'll take you guys to eat something first. I'm not hungry. Don't listen to his nonsense. I just ate on the plane, Su Yun said. If he wants to eat supper, you two can eat alone. I'm full. Oh right. Feng Ye suddenly realized and knocked her head. I forgot that Sister Shuang arrived in Qingdao at noon today. Haha, Brother Yun, it seems that you want absence to make the heart grow fonder, right? Okay. I'll send you to the hotel right away. I thought I was the first to get the news when I got Lin Ji's call in the afternoon. So, Big Brother Yun had already told Sister Shuang. Su Yun was stunned. He didn't say anything. He only told Feng Ye that he and Lin Gu were going to land in Qingdao tonight. And it was only a few hours ago when they were transferring. After all, Feng Ye worked at the airport. If Lin Gu didn't report it, he would be punished to kneel on the remote control when he got home. So Sister Shuang is here? Then let's send Brother Yun back quickly, Lin Gu said. A night of romance is worth 1,000 gold. We can't afford to delay it. You're afraid of delaying your own romance, right? Su Yun smiled helplessly. Feng Ye blushed and quickly got into the car. No matter whose romance it was good for them to send Su Yun back as soon as possible. It was good for everyone. What was the phrase again? Win-win. Feng Ye drove very fast. After dropping Su Yun at the movie hotel, the two didn't disturb him and quickly left again. Just like that, Su Yun silently arrived at the movie hotel. At this time, Ruan Qingxuang was chatting with Bai Xiaoye in the room. There was a fixed suite in the movie hotel for Su Yun. After Ruan Qingxuang came back, she naturally took the key from Bai Xiaoye and went to rest in the room. She didn't come to Qingdao for anything important this time. She just wanted to relax and see if Su Yun had returned after being out for so long. During the time in the Pacific Ocean, although Su Yun used GPS, it was impossible to guarantee that he could be connected to the whole world all the time under the influence of various storms and weather conditions. At least, Ruan Qingxuang told him that he was out of service several times when she called him. This was normal. However, sometimes there was no signal in the elevator or the underground garage, let alone in the Pacific Ocean. Although Hua Xia, the telecommunications giant, charged a lot of money, it was not as good as it was bragged. Otherwise, how could it make so much money? It was a scam. Su Yun said goodbye to a few familiar faces and went directly to his suite on the top floor of the hotel, leaving a few beautiful receptionists whispering. They were also envious and wondered when they could become a woman like Ms. Ruan. Ruan Qingxuang had trained them. After all, she had experience running a hotel in Hadong. During the training, Ruan Qingxuang liked to encourage the employees. She had told some simple stories about herself. She had also fallen to the bottom of her life. She had persevered little by little with the help of Su Yun until now. Ruan Qingxuang was not only a member of the management of Chanyu Group, but also a member of the management of Xinkai Hotel in Shenzhen. Compared to her status as the owner of a small medicinal cuisine restaurant, it was a world of difference. How could this not make people envious? Perhaps not everyone in the world had this opportunity, but most people did not seize it. Ruan Qingxuang was able to get to where she was today because of her own perseverance. If she did not have that perseverance, she would not have the appreciation that Su Yun had after he got to know her. It was because of Ruan Qingxuang's perseverance that Su Yun believed that as long as he helped her, she could do things that ordinary people could not do. The facts proved that Su Yun was right. Ruan Qingxuang did do things that ordinary people could not do. She was stronger than ordinary people, so her achievements were more, stronger, and bigger than ordinary people. Chapter 1653. The knocking on the door interrupted the conversation between Ruan Qingxuang and Bai Xiaoye. Bai Xiaoye was startled. Normally, no waiters would come here to disturb them. This was Su Yun's private space. Normally, there was no need for the service staff to clean this place. Bai Xiaoye would sweep the floor and wipe the table when she was free. Moreover, Su Yun was not a sloppy person, so there was no need for him to do anything. It was getting late, so who would be knocking on the door? Bai Xiaoye walked to the door with doubts. When she opened the door, she was shocked. She would never have thought that it would be Su Yun. This was too sudden. There was no warning at all. Bai Xiaoye rubbed her eyes and looked up and down to make sure that she was not seeing things. What's wrong? Did you drink too much? You can't even recognize me? Su Yun could smell the faint mellow aroma of red wine coming from the room. She knew that the two of them must be having a drink. Red wine was very beneficial for women. It could not only promote metabolism, but also restore the luster and elasticity of the skin. Moreover, it could also make the skin look younger. Zhua Meiyan had done research and found that drinking red wine had amazing antioxidant effects. It could keep the skin young, prevent the skin from aging, promote metabolism, and make the skin fairer. If it was used together with vitamin C, it could strengthen the antioxidant effects and at the same time, tighten the skin. Women were women, after all, especially women in the entertainment industry. Although they were leaders and not public figures in the entertainment industry, they still cared a lot about their skin care. Women would get worse after 25 years, so it was necessary to take good care of their skin. Many people who knew about wine would subconsciously want to taste red wine. Looking at its enchanting color, smelling its gentle fragrance, and enjoying the harmony and tranquility it brought to people. It could make people forget everything temporarily and quietly enjoy the beauty around them. Of course, this only applied to people who knew about wine. Those rich people who drank big glasses might not know how to taste red wine. The process of tasting wine was a silent elegance. Whether a person knew how to drink red wine or not could be seen from the moment the wine was opened. The most authentic and skilled person would first smell the cork of the wine, then pour the wine into the cup, fill it with 1/3 of the cup, observe the color of the wine, and then swirl the wine in the cup, making circular movements to let the wine cover the walls of the cup, smell the fragrance, and then taste the taste in the mouth. The most authentic way to drink wine was to not add any drinks. Sip it slowly until the face was slightly moist. Drinking red wine to their heart's content and shouting, "Cheers!" or "Cheers!" These people would definitely not be able to taste the fragrance of red wine. Ruan Qingxuang and Bai Xiaoye were tasting wine in the room because the top floor of the movie hotel was really too quiet. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, they could see the night sky of the quicksand. Under such beautiful scenery, it would be a waste if they didn't have a drink. Hearing Su Yun's voice, Ruan Qingxuang was stunned. She thought she was hallucinating, but soon, Bai Xiaoye and Su Yun appeared in front of her. Ruan Qingxuang looked at Su Yun and then at Bai Xiaoye. Is this a surprise from Xiaoye? When they were talking about Su Yun, Bai Xiaoye said she couldn't contact him. Now, Su Yun suddenly appeared. Facing Ruan Qingxuang's questioning gaze, Bai Xiaoye shrugged helplessly. Sister Shuang, I really didn't expect this unreliable guy to suddenly appear at this time. How am I unreliable? Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Bai Xiaoye stuck out her tongue. Anyway, your sudden attack is quite unreliable. Ayaya, since you're here, I won't be a third wheel here. I still have a lot of things to do tomorrow. I'm going back to rest. I just arrived and you're leaving already. Even if you dislike me, you don't have to make it so obvious. Su-yun said as he took off his jacket. Come, sit down and have a drink with me. What's the point of you going back to your house? You might as well stay in a hotel. It's precisely because I don't like staying in a hotel that I must have my own house. Bai Xiaoye said, staying in a hotel doesn't have the taste of home. Su, let me tell you first. Do you really want Sister Shuang to stay in a hotel with you for the rest of your life? The environment in my neighborhood is not bad. There's even a small villa with a basement. You don't lack money. Get one as soon as possible. Su-yun shrugged. Which eye of yours thinks your brother doesn't lack money? In your neighborhood, your 3-bedroom apartment is worth more than 3 million. The price is close to Beijing's Third Ring Road. Are you stupid? That's all there is to real estate. Real estate is falling? That's because the location isn't good. Bai Xiaoye was shocked. If you have the ability to build a villa in Old Zhang's Drifting Flowers edifice, even if the price of a house in Qingdao drops to 2,000 per square meter, that place can still be sold for a sky-high price. Do you believe me? Su-yun believed this. After all, there were many rich people. No one could be more capricious than the rich. I'm not that capricious. Su-yun shook his head. I've just discussed this with Sister Shuang. The 3-story apartment is 470 square meters, including the basement and a 150 square meter courtyard. It's less than 20 million. I think it's quite suitable. If you go, I'll have a rich neighbor to visit. Bai Xiaoye looked forward to it. Less than 20 million. You don't even want a rich girl and only want a 3-bedroom apartment in your high-end neighborhood. Do you think I can afford it? Su-yun felt the pinch. This price was not expensive. Of course, that was only in the eyes of the rich. Bai Xiaoye waved her hand. Don't cry to me about being poor. I don't care about your money. I'll just leave it for my fat nephew. You're the boss of Sky Entertainment, but you don't even have a place to live. Won't people laugh at you? Su-yun also waved his hand. All right. Stop lecturing. Let's go to your high-end neighborhood and live in your 3-bedroom apartment. Now that you have a house, you even look down on me. Ingrate. Sister Shuang. I think my brother needs to be beaten up. You have to teach him a lesson. Bai Xiaoye said, I'm leaving first. You guys can continue. Don't drive if you're drunk, Su-yun reminded her. Bai Xiaoye didn't even turn her head. I'm more self-aware than you. I'll call for a designated driver now. Be careful on the road. Give us a call when you're home, Ruan Qingxuang said with concern. Don't worry, Sister Shuang, Bai Xiaoye said. She's so tough. We don't have to worry about her. Su-yun laughed. After sending Bai Xiaoye off, Ruan Qingxuang started to notice Su-yun. It had only been a few days since they last met, but Su-yun seemed to have gotten a little tanned. Moreover, he looked like he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. After all, he had been exposed to the sun and wind on the Pacific Ocean. It was normal for such a change to happen. Ruan Qingxuang felt a little heartache. Su-yun didn't mind Bai Xiaoye's used wine glass. He picked up the glass and poured some more wine. He didn't taste the wine but drank it all in one gulp. Everyone said that wine was good stuff. One gulp could relieve one's tiredness. You must be tired. I'll prepare some hot water for you. Take a bath later and have a good rest. Ruan Qingxuang knew that Su-yun must be tired after coming back from a trip. She understood his tiredness, so Ruan Qingxuang chose to do everything for Su-yun without any complaints. Su-yun grabbed Ruan Qingxuang's wrist and gestured for her to sit down. No need. I'll do it myself later. I see that you look a little haggard recently. Did you encounter something difficult to solve? As he spoke, Su-yun poured some more wine. He raised his glass and clinked it with Ruan Qingxuang's glass. The crisp sound of the crystal glass was really pleasant to the ears. Ruan Qingxuang also sat down and drank with Su-yun. After drinking it in one gulp, Su-yun didn't waste it anymore. He savored it carefully. This wine was really good. Chapter 1654. 2 glasses of red wine were nothing to Su Yun, but by Xiaoye's words made Su Yun's heart itch. Ever since Su Yun could remember things, Zhang Taisui had brought him to stay in many hotels. Su Yun had experienced all kinds of hotels in the country, big and small, from high-end to low-end hotels. Later, when he joined the army, Su Yun stayed with a big family. Therefore, Su Yun had never had a fixed concept of a place to stay. Basically, Su Yun was satisfied with a bed and a blanket. Therefore, Su Yun had never thought about this. No one had mentioned it in the past, so it was normal for Su Yun to not think about it. But now that someone had mentioned it, Su Yun had no choice but to consider this matter. No matter which country people were from, they would have a deep understanding of the concept of home, especially Huaxia people, who valued their home more. Home was a place where family members lived together. It was a place where couples lived together. For women, home was a safe haven. For Ruan Qingshuang, home was perhaps even more important. Back then, she left home to open a medicinal cuisine restaurant in Hadong and lived there. She lived upstairs and downstairs, so she did not have the concept of home. Later, when she lived in Hadong Hotel, although the living conditions were improved a lot, it was still a hotel, not a home. It was not until Shenzhen that Yi Fala's villa was empty that it felt like home. However, that place belonged to Yi Fala after all. It was not her home, but someone else's home. Someone else's home would always be someone else's. Even if you lived there for a lifetime, you would still think that it was someone else's home. This was why Huaxia people would rather sell everything they had to buy a house for a few million than spend hundreds of thousands renting a house for a lifetime. Only when they got the property certificate and land certificate would they feel at ease and think that this place was theirs. They would be able to add whatever they wanted to this home, because this space belonged to them. Of course, in Huaxia, this thing had a time limit. In the end, it still belonged to the country. But even so, everyone was willing to spend 3 million to buy a house instead of 1 million to rent a house for 70 years. It was not that Huaxia people were stupid and rich, but that Huaxia people had deep feelings for their home and were more dependent on their home. Therefore, real estate companies took advantage of this opportunity and bought land that originally belonged to the people at a low price. Then, they sold it at a high price. They spent 3,000 yuan to build a house per square meter and sold it for 30,000 to 50,000 yuan. Wasn't this mentality? Losers often complained that they didn't have a house and couldn't find a wife. Girls who went on blind dates often paid attention to how many houses the man had. In today's society, don't blame him for being practical. This was something that represented a sense of security. If you couldn't even give her a basic sense of security, how could she be with you? There was only one possible situation where the girl wouldn't despise the man for not having a house. That was true love. Ruan Qingshuang had never made such a request to Su Yun. She had never even thought about it. Of course, she also needed a sense of security. However, the starting point of her consideration was Su Yun. Therefore, she didn't feel insecure. Therefore, she didn't feel that Su Yun's actions were not considered thoroughly. When true love came, the girl wouldn't seek a sense of security in terms of a house. Just like Ruan Qingshuang, she would feel safe just by silently guarding Su Yun. What do you think of what Xiao Yi said? Su Yun suddenly put down his wine glass and said, "It sounds pretty good." What's pretty good? Ruan Qingshuang was startled. She didn't seem to understand Su Yun's meaning. This wine? Xiao Yi didn't bring it. Zhua Meiyan brought it back from France the day before yesterday. She said that she used to be an artist under Sky Entertainment. Later, she married a Frenchman and left the entertainment industry. This is a red wine produced by her winery. Su Yun smacked his lips. No wonder it tasted good. It was a gift from someone close. I'm not talking about the wine. I'm talking about the house that Bai Xiaoye mentioned. The environment in her neighborhood is really good. I'm a little tempted. Ruan Qingshuang was shocked. You're really going to spend tens of millions to buy a house? Yes, I'm tempted, but it's too expensive. But that's a standalone house and a basement. Su Yun smacked his lips and said, I've also heard about the standalone houses in that neighborhood. The first and second floors are about 180 square meters each. The third floor is 100 square meters, and there's also a 60 square meter rooftop that can be used to make a glass wall and a sunroom. The standalone house is also more than 100 square meters. The basement is also big enough to park 3 cars at the same time. The location is also so good. Ruan Qingxuang was a woman, after all. When she heard this, she was even more tempted. She didn't even dare to think about such a perfect house. As long as she could have a home with Su Yun, she would be tempted even if it was a 60 square meter attic with 1 bedroom and 1 living room. For a moment, Ruan Qingxuang didn't know what to say. However, she clearly remembered that Bai Xiaoye said that the house would cost 20 to 30 million. This was when the real estate industry wasn't doing well. She couldn't accept such a sky-high price. Perhaps some people would think that they were the people in charge of Sky Entertainment Group. Why would they care about such a small amount of money? Not to mention the bosses, even the artists and leaders under them would be able to afford a house of this level. However, Ruan Qingxuang wasn't born rich. She wasn't a nouveau riche who suddenly received a huge sum of money. She had experienced days where she would have a headache over a few thousand yuan. Therefore, she would definitely struggle if she had to fork out tens of millions to buy a house. She had seen more money than this. She had even seen hundreds of millions. However, that kind of money was from the company. The feeling of spending money was different from spending it herself. Su Yun's mentality was similar to Ruan Qingxuang's. Could he afford it? He could afford it. This amount of money was nothing to Su Yun. It could even be said that even if he didn't participate in the management of Sky Entertainment Group, 20 to 30 million yuan wasn't a difficult number for him to earn. $500 could be exchanged for 30 million yuan. Su Yun only needed to make a trip to Western Europe or North America, find a mafia boss, negotiate the price, and help him cripple his opponent. These few $1,000,000 were very easy to get. However, Su Yun wouldn't do such a thing for money. It wasn't that he looked down on killers. Lin Gu and Xie Fei's were such killers. However, his principles told him that he wasn't a killer. He was a member of the Dragon Fury team. I think, shouldn't we consider it? Su Yun asked again. Ruan Qingxuang was really excited. But the real estate market is unstable now. Should we wait a little longer? After the new policy is implemented, those who have dozens or hundreds of houses will probably sell their houses, right? That will affect the property prices. It will affect a little. The second-hand housing market should be more affected. Su Yun, but what we want isn't the same concept as the houses that are easy to sell. It shouldn't be affected by the price. Then let's wait and see. Ruan Qingxuang was also looking forward to it. However, when she thought of such a large sum of money, she still wavered. Actually, we don't need to buy such a big one. Su Yun was still very certain about this. No, we must buy a big one. Xiao Ye's 3-bedroom house is pretty good, Ruan Qingxuang said. She's a girl. When she gets married, this house will be her dowry. It's a loss to buy a big one. Su Yun joked. So what she wants is already very big. My position is different from hers. And I especially like children. Although family planning is a national policy, I still want to give birth to a football team. I want to change the pitiful situation of Huaxia's men's football team once and for all. For the glory of the country. Ruan Qingxuang's pretty face turned red. I hate you. Chapter 1655. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. This was not a joke. Su Yun released the depression in his heart. Ruan Qingxuang's face was rosy and sweaty as she lay on Su Yun's chest. No matter what this man did, he could make her feel satisfied like never before. Tianyu Group's busy affairs did not allow Ruan Qingxuang to rest for too long. After a sweet night in Qingdao, she was woken up by a phone call the next day. There were some things in Jibei that she needed to sign. She had to leave Su Yun's warm chest reluctantly. The things discussed yesterday were still hovering in Su Yun's mind. The villa in the Golden Coast Garden District was indeed tempting to Su Yun. After sending off Ruan Qingxuang, Su Yun began to think about this matter. After a busy day, Su Yun called Shirley. He believed that this local tyrant should have a good relationship with these developers. According to Su Yun's understanding, when this district was being built, Shirley took the job of hauling the dregs on the construction site. That was why Su Yun thought of him. If he came forward to negotiate, he could at least get a discount, right? Although Su Yun was not short of money, he was not capricious. When he could save, he had to save. He could not be a prodigal. After receiving Su Yun's call, Shirley was very excited. There were many rich people in his circle of friends, but Su Yun was definitely a special existence. Brother Su Yun, I've been waiting for your call. I've arranged for everyone to come out tonight. Have a drink or two. How about it? Brother Lei, you're making fun of your brother again. Although Shirley couldn't be considered a good person, Su Yun still liked his straightforwardness. Moreover, he wouldn't do things without a bottom line. Su Yun could accept such a friend. I was afraid that you would be too busy every day, so I didn't invite you to drink with me. Please don't mind. Brother, what are you talking about? Shirley said, I don't know who Li Wanji is. As long as you say the word, even if I'm in Antarctica, I'll immediately fly back to drink with you. Su Yun laughed. Brother Lei, with your words, I can rest assured and take up your time tonight. You choose the place, it's my treat. No, no, no. You can't do that. Shirley said, Old brother Su Yun, you inviting me is already giving me, Shirley, the greatest face. This event must be my treat, or else I won't agree. How about this? We brothers don't need to be so courteous. Where are you? I'll get my little brother to pick you up. I'll take care of the rest. You don't have to worry about anything. I can go by myself, Su Yun said with a smile. That won't do. We're all law-abiding. We can't drink and drive. I'll send someone to pick you up. I must send someone to pick you up. Shirley's words were not to be rejected. Then I'll respectfully accept. Su Yun was no longer courteous. I'm at the movie hotel. Brother Lei, if you don't mind, come here and try my chef's cooking. Shirley smiled. That won't do. That's your home ground. If I go, you definitely can't let me take care of it. If I take care of it, it will seem that I'm not sensible. If I'm greedy for food another day, I'll take the initiative to ask for it. How about that? Don't not entertain me at that time. Su Yun grinned. Brother Lei can come whenever you want. Okay. Then I'll send someone to pick you up right away. Shirley said straightforwardly. About half an hour later, Shirley's little brother drove his Audi A8 to the movie hotel and waited downstairs. Originally, the security guard wasn't going to let the little brother park the car at the reception area at the entrance of the hotel lobby. When he heard that he was here to pick up the boss, he immediately greeted him with a smile. The little brother driver also felt that he had a lot of face. After picking up Su Yun, he called him brother all the way. Soon, he brought Su Yun to a seafood restaurant. Obviously, this place was also protected by Shirley. Even the boss personally came out to welcome Su Yun. When Shirley introduced Su Yun, he was definitely very proud. Boss Zhang, do you know who my brother is? Boss Zhang of the seafood restaurant hurriedly went up to shake Su Yun's hand. Of course I know. Who in Qingdao doesn't know Boss Su? Ayaya, seeing is believing. Boss Su is really a dragon among men. A dragon among men. You flatter me. Su Yun smiled and looked at the luxurious cars in the parking lot. Boss Zhang's business is booming and he knows how to make money. It's worth learning. Aya, my small business can't be compared to Boss Su's Sky Entertainment Group. Your movie restaurant is 10 times bigger than my small place. I don't dare to say that. I should ask Boss Su for more advice. Oh, not bad. You know a lot. Shirley laughed and said, Boss Zhang, since you know who my brother is, you should prepare better things for me. You don't dare to cheat our own people. Boss Zhang slapped his thigh. How can I not prepare the best and freshest things for Brother Lei? Don't worry, I promise that after Boss Su tries the seafood here, he will feel that there is nothing fresher than this. Brother Su Yun, let's go up. Shirley and Su Yun didn't bring any underlings to drink. In his eyes, Su Yun's status was not something that his underlings were qualified to sit with. There were only the two of them in the magnificent room. Su Yun knew what Shirley meant and didn't say anything. After the two of them sat down, the dishes were quickly served. There was abalone and seafood pot, dark green roasted macadamia strip, Arctic scallop sashimi, dongting tender fish fillet, honey steamed sea bass, huaishan stewed turtle, deer antler wings, steamed king crab, sautéed lobster, 5 willow grilled grouper. There was everything on the table. Shirley opened a bottle of Louis XIII. This wine is good. Remy Martin's production standard was higher than Cognac's. If it was aged for less than 7 years, it was Versus. If it was aged for more than 7 years, it was VSOP. If it was aged for more than 12 years, it was Club. If it was aged for more than 15 years, it was Napoleon. If it was aged for more than 20 years, it was XO. If it was aged for more than 30 years, it was Golden Age. If it was aged for more than 50 years, it was Louis XIII. Brother, if you're not used to drinking this wine, let's change. Shirley said straightforwardly. If you're not used to drinking such good wine, then it's really not suitable for drinking. Su Yun laughed. Brother Lei, it's just the two of us. Isn't it a bit wasteful to be so extravagant? That's not good. Shirley said, everything we eat and drink is our own hard-earned money. We worked hard to earn it with our own hands. It's not like it's public expense. It's not extravagant. Besides, seafood isn't enough. I can't let my brother starve. Of course, we have to order more. Su Yun knew that Shirley was a person who cared about his face, so he didn't say anything. Those people who eat and drink extravagantly with public expense are the ones who are extravagant and wasteful. They should be dragged out and shot. What we're doing is called occasionally extravagant. Shirley poured 2 glasses of wine. Brother, I'm very happy that you invited me. I'll drink first as a toast. After saying that, Shirley drank it all. In Shirley's mind, Su Yun and he weren't on the same level. Su Yun didn't put on airs in front of him and let him call him brother. That was giving him a lot of face. Just because of this face, Shirley was absolutely respectful to Su Yun. Brother Lei, don't be polite with me. I'm just looking for you to have a meal and talk about a small matter. Su Yun also picked up his glass and drank it all. People who were particular knew that if others drank a toast, it was a toast to others. If you had to drink it, it was called respecting others. Respect and respect were particular about a reciprocal. Don't be polite with Brother Lei. Come eat. Shirley picked up the serving chopsticks and added more food for Su Yun. Let's eat and talk. Brother, if you need me to do something, just say it. I, Shirley, will never be vague. Chapter 1656. Su Yun and Shirley toasted each other. The more they chatted, the more they got along. Shirley's admiration for Su Yun came from the bottom of his heart. It was not fake at all. Brother Lei, you should be familiar with the Golden Coast Garden District. Su Yun, I heard that you were involved in the project there. Hey, what kind of project is that? Haha, I'm just a bumpkin. I just took on the job of cleaning up the dregs. What kind of project is that? Shirley laughed at himself. But I'm quite familiar with this district. I know the contractor and real estate agent. Old Yang even had a meal with me 2 days ago. He said that the land he bought was worth it. A good location can withstand the storm of falling property prices. That guy really made a lot of money. Su Yun nodded. Yes, that location is really good. A good place will always retain its value. Those that are sold at reduced prices are those that are not easy to sell. But that's not a big deal. The economy will still be under control. Haha, brother, I don't understand these economic matters. Shirley said, Why? Are you interested in that district? You want to buy a whole house? Brother, if you're asking me about this, then you've really found the right person. Which house do you fancy? Is it the kind of good house that the salesperson says is sold out? Soo-yoon laughed. It seemed that he really found the right person. He liked to befriend Shirley because Shirley was straightforward. He could help you with anything and could not help you with anything. It was just a matter of a sentence from him. He would definitely not nag you with useless things. This was a very manly and straightforward person. He would never feel annoyed just because you looked for him when you had a problem. If it was within his power, he would be happy to lend a helping hand. Don't worry, brother. Even if they say it's sold out, I can still get it for you. Shirley said, Real estate is very complicated. What's this called? It's called a closed sale. It means that they first sell those that are not easy to sell. Those that are average are sold out. Then, those who really want to buy this residential area don't care anymore. They just buy it directly. When the average residential area is almost sold out, they take out those good residential areas to sell, and the sales will reach a peak again. Soo-yoon knew a thing or two about real estate. All over the country, no matter if it was a first-tier or second-tier city, or a fourth-tier or fifth-tier county, the real estate industry followed this route. Otherwise, if the good houses were sold out and left behind those that were not easy to sell, would they still want to wait for the value of the houses to appreciate? Only a good apartment with a good floor would appreciate in value. Therefore, the sale of real estate was already an unwritten rule. All profiteers were profiteers. This saying was applicable everywhere. The one that caught my eye should be for sale even if it's not sold out. It's just that the price is a little more expensive than the ordinary high-rise apartments. Soo-yoon smiled. Shirley was suddenly enlightened. He raised his wine cup and clinked it with Soo-yoon's. Look at my brain. Brother Soo-yoon, what kind of status do you have? He definitely couldn't buy an ordinary high-rise apartment. He had to go straight to a villa. Blame me. Blame me. My brain isn't enlightened. I'll punish myself. Soo-yoon also raised his wine cup and drank with Shirley. My sister bought a house in that residential area. She said that the environment is quite good, so I learned more about it. It's really good. All aspects of the real estate industry are worthy of the conscience of the industry. You've taken a fancy to that villa. It's the independent courtyard in the 3-story apartment, right? Shirley said. And Soo-yoon nodded. Don't worry. I'll ask for you now. I'll definitely get the best one for us. Shirley took out his phone and began to look for a phone number. He was very efficient. Soon, he found Yong-jan, who invested in the Golden Coast Garden District. He called him. Of course, Soo-yoon didn't stop him. He came here to ask Shirley to help him ask about this matter. Boss Young. It's me. Shirley laughed and said, Listening to your voice, you're drinking? Ha ha ha, do you have time tomorrow? Let's go out and have a few drinks. When Yong-jan received Shirley's call, he didn't dare to be careless. Although he was richer and had a higher status than Shirley, when doing business, there were many times when he would lower his status to a local tyrant like Shirley. Even if he could sit at the same table with the secretary and call him brother, when facing someone like Shirley, he would still call him Big Brother. Why? Figure it out yourself. Brother Lei, I'm flattered by your call. Yong-jan said, I've been too busy recently. I've been wanting to invite Brother Lei out for a meal. Ha ha ha, with Boss Yang's words, I, Shirley, am satisfied. Shirley said, I'm calling now. I won't disturb your meal, right? Not at all. Of course, not at all. Yong-jan said very respectfully, even if there's a **** sitting at this table today, if Brother Lei's call comes, I'll definitely answer it. If Brother Lei has any orders, just say it. Shirley was elated when he heard that. Boss Yong really knows how to talk. I'm embarrassed by what he's saying. After a pause, Shirley continued, It's nothing big. I just want to ask you about the single courtyard villa in the Gold Coast. Yes. The 3-story, 500 square meter villa with a basement and a small garden. Brother Lei, are you planning to move into my community? Yongzhen was stunned, then smiled. Then I'm very honored. Your presence brings light to the Gold Coast Garden community. Since you're here, you must be the chairman of our community's property owner committee. Shirley waved his hand. Boss Yang, don't joke around. Even if you give me a 50% discount, I can't afford to live in your high-end community. Ha ha ha. However, you have to pick the best house for me. The person who asked me about your house isn't an ordinary person. Yongzhen heard that there was business and stopped laughing. Brother Lei, tell me. I'm listening. Who's going to buy this house? Don't worry. It's your acquaintance. I'll definitely choose a good location for him. It's not just an acquaintance. Shirley said, it's not just a good location. It's the best location. The best. Yo, Yongzhen is really serious now. Who is Shirley asking for? He directly wants the best location for a villa? This person is definitely not simple. Could it be a leader in the city? How could he make the boss of the 3 religions and 9 schools, Shirley, ask him so respectfully? It's impossible. Now the leaders in the city are anxious to sell their houses. They already have enough in their hands. Who would want to buy a house at this time? Moreover, it's a villa. Isn't this courting death? Brother Lei, who is this big shot? Why are you so concerned about him? Yongzhen smiled and said, since you've said so, then I'll do my best to make sure that you do well. How do I introduce him? Then, how about this? You're now at a drinking party, and I'm also at the dining table. Let's meet at a time when we finish eating. You choose the place, and I'll pay the bill. Shirley said, I'll introduce him to you. How about it? Yongzhen just invited a few project managers for a meal today and talked about some simple things. After the meal, he really didn't have any other arrangements. Since Brother Lei said so, then I'll respectfully accept. As for the place, haha, Brother Lei is still familiar with Qingdao. Of course you can decide. Then come to my bathing center. Let's have a sauna and have a massage. I'll ask them to leave 2 beautiful girls for Boss Yang. You can have fun at night. Shirley smiled. He knew that Yongzhen liked this kind of thing. Yongzhen's eyes lit up when he heard this. Then I'll listen to Brother Lei's arrangement. Ha 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 ha. Then, let's meet after the meal. See you after the meal. Shirley also agreed. After hanging up the phone, Shirley picked up his wine glass and drank with Su Yun. Brother Su Yun, you can rest assured. This old Yang won't dare to play tricks with me. He will definitely give you the best location. As for the price, although I know that you don't lack money, how much can I cut off for you? That's just a little bit of my sincerity. Even if we have money, it's money earned from a drop of sweat and tears. Every bit we can save is one. Brother Su Yun, am I right? With Brother Lei's words, then I really don't have to worry about anything. Su Yun, come Brother Lei, let me toast you. Thank you for helping me so much. What are you talking about? This is a small matter. Shirley smiled and picked up his wine glass. Chapter 1657. After a seafood feast, Su Yun followed Shirley to his bathing city. Although Shirley's education level wasn't high, he still gave his bathing center a very artistic name, Tropical Rainforest. Moreover, the interior decoration style was very much like a tropical rainforest. Shirley's bathing center should be considered a very high-end place on Qingdao. In addition to the master bathroom that everyone could use, there were also 3 large auxiliary bathrooms that could be used by 10 people at the same time. Moreover, these 3 independent bathrooms could only be used after paying a fee. Naturally, the price wasn't cheap. Since he was going to receive Su Yun and Yongzhen, Shirley naturally wouldn't bring them to the master bathroom that anyone could use. Instead, he directly booked one of the auxiliary bathrooms. This kind of place that could be booked naturally had more activities. Moreover, Shirley had something to discuss with Yang Zhen, so naturally, he had to cater to his interests. After meeting up with Yang Zhen, the three of them were led by Shirley to the auxiliary bathroom that could be used alone. In the middle of the huge pool, there was a stone vase with a half-exposed statue of a young girl. Hot water continuously flowed out of the vase. The quality was quite high. The sauna room next to it was also built according to the highest standards. To be able to take a bath together or soak in a hot spring together, for people like Shirley and the others in the underworld, it was a sign of great trust. Because in this kind of place, everyone was honest with each other, so this was a sign of the highest level of trust. Shirley did this in order to highlight this point. When Yang Zhen saw Su Yun, he felt that he looked familiar. After Shirley's introduction, Yang Zhen definitely had a whole new level of respect for Su Yun. The Sky Entertainment Group was the entertainment tycoon of the mainland. He had long heard that the real head of the Sky Entertainment Group was a young man. Today, when he saw him, he was really shocked. Director Su, you are young and promising. Your future is limitless. To be able to be friends with you is definitely this Yang's honor. For you to take a fancy to my house in the Gold Coast is really putting gold on my face. Although Yang Zhen was twice as old as Su Yun, he knew that the difference in age was far inferior to the difference in status. Su Yun was the head of the Sky Entertainment Group at such a young age. Even Shirley called him brother. Yang Zhen knew what he had to do. President Yang, you're too kind. There are many things that I still need your advice on, Su Yun said modestly. That's enough, old Yang. There's only the three of us in this place. We've already lost the face of that boss and boss. Shirley said, if you can take a bath together, then you are definitely trustworthy brothers. You two won't deny what I said, right? Of course not. Yang Zhen said, Brother Lei, for you to treat me as a brother, my heart is filled with warmth. Su Yun smiled but said nothing. Shirley patted Yang Zhen's shoulder and said, Old Yang, I won't call you boss anymore, and I won't call you boss Su anymore. He's still young, and for me to call him brother is already giving me face. Let me ask you something. Old Yang, you said that my brother Su Yun is staying in your Golden Coast Garden District. That's giving you face. Does that count? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You're really giving me face. Yang Zhen said, I'm 100% sure. Then how about this house? Give me a set? Shirley was really greedy. It's the villa I told you about on the phone. I told you that it's the best location. We all know which location is the best. Give me a set? Yang Zhen was stunned, but he quickly regained his composure. He knew that this was a joke. This wasn't a small thing. Even when he was getting that piece of land, the leader who was in charge of it only promised to give him a set of 130 yuan. Before Yang Zhen could say anything, Su Yun spoke first. Brother Lei, this joke is too much. I can't accept it. CEO Su. Oh, no, it's Brother Su. If you really like it and ask for it, I really can't reject it. Yang Zhen could tell that Su Yun wasn't that kind of person, so he dared to talk big. Brother Lei, don't you think so? Shirley laughed. Old Yang, you're sure that we're not that kind of people. That's why you dare to talk big, right? Ha ha ha, that's enough. Let's not play with each other anymore. Do as you see fit. How are you going to sell your villa? Yang Zhen raised his head and thought for a while. The villa has a total of 470 square meters. We're selling it for 60,000 per square meter. The small yard of more than 100 square meters and the garage of more than 100 square meters are all given for free. That's a total of 28 million. In that area, although the price isn't generous, it's not black-hearted either. Brother Lei, what do you think? I don't care if the price you sell it to others is black-hearted or not. Just tell me if the price you sell it to your own people is black-hearted or not. Shirley smiled and looked at Yang Zhen. This gaze made Yang Zhen feel guilty. Yang Zhen felt that since Su Yun was the leader of Sky Entertainment Group, he shouldn't care about this little bit of money, right? Could it be that he really wanted Shirley to bargain for him? Looking at Shirley's attitude, it seemed that he was really determined to cut some money off him. It's definitely not black-hearted to sell it to our own people, Yongzhen said. If Brother Su likes it, I'll take care of all the decorations. You just need to say what style you want, and it'll definitely be done for you. Wait. Stop, old Yang. You're not being honest. Don't worry about the decorations. Shirley said, Do you know who renovated the film and television base? Do you know designer Wang from Pinnacle Design? He's an acquaintance. He's very close to me and Brother Su. At that time, Brother Su did all the decorations for the film and television base for him. Later, he'll ask him to decorate a villa for him. What do you think? Yongzhen laughed dryly. These two laughs were really painful. He had done the calculations before. Even if he used the best materials, hired the most expensive designer, and spent 2 million yuan, he could still decorate it to be quite luxurious. But now that Shirley stopped him, he could only grit his teeth about the house. Su Yun didn't say anything. He just waited for Yongzhen to speak. Yongzhen thought for a while and gritted his teeth. Brother Lei, I really want to be friends with Brother Su. I'll give you enough face. I'll give Brother Su a 20% discount. 48,000 per square meter. How's that? Isn't this generous enough? With this discount, he had lost 5 to 6 million. This was enough face. Yongzhen was able to make this decision because he considered Su Yun's identity and Shirley's power. Otherwise, even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't give such a price. Who said he didn't feel the pain? He was definitely bragging. Old Yang, be more realistic. Shirley still had a smile on his face. Yongzhen almost couldn't hold back the smile on his face. Brother Lei, this is a villa worth more than 28 million. With a 20% discount, it became 22 million. Haha, no matter what, you should at least let me charge the cost price, right? What he said wasn't wrong. Su Yun felt that this was enough. He could save 5 to 6 million. It was a good choice to find an acquaintance. But Shirley clearly felt that this wasn't enough. He secretly gave Su Yun a look, which made Su Yun tense up. Su Yun was startled, but he still followed Shirley's signal. He didn't make a sound and quietly watched Yongzhen's reaction. Shirley chuckled and snapped his fingers. Suddenly, a few girls with enchanting figures walked in. I'm afraid this situation is a bit too much. No wonder rich people can directly book an entire bathroom. The service here is indeed fishy. Yongzhen's eyes lit up when he saw the ladies. Old Yang, think about it. Let the ladies scrub our backs and wash away the bad luck from our bodies. What do you think? Shirley chuckled. Good. Yongzhen said good 3 times. He didn't mind that there were ladies around and stood up naked. Shirley couldn't stand his valiant attitude and handed him a towel to wrap around his waist. Chapter 1658. With the young ladies by his side, Yongzhen's previous worries seemed to have been swept away. He felt that Shirley shouldn't have any more requests. He had already given Shirley so much face. If Shirley still wanted a yard after taking an inch, it would be looking down on him. However, Shirley had catered to Yongzhen's liking by pushing the young ladies forward. Yongzhen felt that Shirley might have already acquiesced to his 20% discount. Humph, of course he had to agree. Those were shining white notes, stacks and stacks of them could be stacked up to a few hundred. Men who went to the bathhouse had their backs scrubbed before, so they were definitely men. Only foot massages were done by female technicians. Shirley had done well. In order to cater to Yongzhen's liking, he had let Yongzhen take advantage of him. This made it easier for him to ask. If you wanted someone to do as you said, you had to do it according to their preferences. This was Shirley's way of doing things. Su Yun wasn't used to girls scrubbing his back. After all, everyone was well aware of what these girls could do with their slender hands. Back scrubbing required men. Only then would it be exciting. These scantily clad girls were here to let Yang Zhan scrub their backs. Furthermore, he was even scrubbing their faces. If Yang Zhan hadn't noticed that Su Yun wasn't interested in this, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold back his thirst and would have done something even more outrageous. It wasn't that he hadn't done such things before, so his skin was as thick as a city wall. He didn't avoid doing things in front of outsiders. Instead, it made him feel even more stimulated. What was the saying again? A shameless person is invincible. This wasn't the first time Yang Zhen had done such things. In the end, he stopped at hugging, touching, and scratching. He didn't go any further for fear of causing Su Yun to feel uncomfortable. No matter what, he still wanted to get to know someone like Su Yun, who had such a high status. However, Yang Zhen had a thought in his heart. Could this Su Yun be gay? It was said that young people were full of energy. In their 20s, they were at the age of wolves, jackals, tigers, and leopards. Why wasn't he as energetic as an old man like him? TSK, TSK, TSK. Maybe there's a problem in that area. Sigh, being young and rich, how much fun would that be? Thinking of this, Yang Zhen suddenly had an idea. That's right, if this Su Yun had a problem with andrology, wouldn't his relationship with him be better than Shirley's relationship with him? This was an opportunity. Once that happened, Shirley wouldn't have to force him to lower the price anymore. Come on, handsome. If you don't want me to rub it for you, then rub it for me. This long-haired woman with long legs, big breasts, and big buttocks hugged Su Yun's arm and clamped it between her breasts. She rubbed against him and pressed herself against him. Normal men wouldn't be able to resist such a situation. However, Su Yun was a bit of a clean freak when it came to this matter. He really had no interest in these prostitutes. He felt sorry for them. Although it was their own choice that led them to this step in life, at such a young age, what choice did they not make? Yet, they chose this line of work. If you asked if there was an easy job in this world, it would probably be this line of work. In the pockets of rich and fickle bosses, this kind of money was like toilet paper to wipe their buttocks. I'm saying that my body is quite clean. I don't need you to help me. I can wash myself clean. Su Yun was unmoved. He definitely admitted that there was temptation, but he definitely wouldn't go against his principles. Su Yun's words made the girl a little angry. She felt that he was implying that her body wasn't clean. However, this was Shirley's VIP. She didn't dare to be angry or say anything. She could only suppress the anger in her heart. She had never seen such an unromantic person. The girl felt that she had seen all kinds of people. There were many people who looked more refined than him. However, once he encountered her flirting, he would immediately reveal his true colors and be completely reduced to a refined scum. Humph! This pretense of being virtuous really made her feel unhappy. Yang Zhen suddenly pushed away the two girls who were sticking to him. He laughed and got up and walked towards the changing area. Shirley thought that he was going to get a cigarette and didn't pay much attention to him. However, when Yang Zhen rushed back, he wasn't holding a cigarette in his hand. Instead, he was holding a small blue bottle. Moreover, he was looking at Shirley and Su Yun with a special smile. This is... Shirley's curiosity was instantly aroused. Yang Zhen laughed and said with a mysterious face, "This thing is amazing. A friend of mine brought it to me from abroad. As long as you eat one, it will definitely ensure that you'll be radiant and energetic for the entire night. You'll be invincible, and you'll be able to make any woman want to die. You'll be hovering between life and death, living a life worse than death." Speaking of this, Yang Zhen racked his brain and dug out the little bit of ink in his stomach. He couldn't wait to use all the adjectives he knew to describe how amazing and powerful this thing was. Hearing Yang Zhen's words, the girls cursed him as they continued to flirt with him. This caused Yang Zhen to burn with anger. He wished that he could immediately take out the one with the biggest breasts and execute her on the spot. "Brother Su, I see that you're not in a good state. Ha ha, this is nothing. You're a man. Sometimes, it's normal for you to be troubled." Yang Zhen suppressed his desire to explode and placed the small bottle in front of Su Yun. Come, try too. I guarantee that you'll regain your masculinity tonight. Being a man with an invincible golden spear will no longer be a dream. F***ck. Soo-yoon really wanted to flatten this old bastard's head with a whip kick. This bastard actually suspected that he couldn't do it. F***ck. What the hell was this? Soo-yoon didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If he started to rely on drugs at this age, how could he live in the future? Shirley almost threw up all the seafood he had eaten last night when he saw this scene. He almost peed himself from laughing. Ha 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 ha, I say, old Yang, you're really talented. You're really the most talented man I've ever seen in my life. You're giving this to brother Soo to eat? Soo-yoon couldn't laugh. This old bastard. Sigh. I'm just being kind. Yongzhan hurriedly explained, Brother Lei, Brother Soo, there are no outsiders here. That's why I took this out to share. I wouldn't be willing to give it to ordinary people, but if Brother Soo can't do it, these 2 pills will definitely cure him. It will make him as hard as steel. If you don't believe me, you can try it. If I'm lying, I'm a bastard, a son of a bitch. The few girls were also looking forward to seeing if this thing really had a miraculous effect. After all, there were only 3 men here. Yongzhan was old and fat. Shirley was ugly and fierce. The only one who met the standard of a handsome man was Soo-yoon. They really didn't mind having a little flirtation with Soo-yoon. If something happened, they would rather not have money. But this handsome man couldn't do it. What a pity, what a pity. So they were looking forward to the effect of this medicine. Boss Yang, this joke can't be made casually. Soo-yoon shook his head helplessly. This thing, you should keep it for yourself. I'm quite good. Brother Soo, you really don't have to be polite with me. People say that it's good to be a woman. I think it's better to be a man. Yongzhen said, Come, try it. Quickly try it. Otherwise, if this medicine doesn't work, I'll give you a villa for free. Since Yongzhen had already said so, it seemed like the strength of this medicine was quite strong. Soo-yoon couldn't eat it. If he ate it, where would he go to relieve his internal heat? He would suffocate to death overnight. What you said is true. Then I'll help my brother to try it. Shirley was tempted. Brother Lei, you're still young. Why are you eating this thing? Yongzhen was still a little reluctant. I saw that Brother Soo can't do it, so I took it out. This can't be eaten casually. You can only eat it when you can't do it. Otherwise, if you really can't do it, then you'll find trouble with me. As soon as he heard this, Soo-yoon couldn't eat it even more. Would it make him sick? Chapter 1659. That's enough, old Yang. Don't cause trouble here. Shirley laughed and said, Brother Soo's body is in good health. Even if he doesn't use your thing, he'll still be a golden gun that won't fall. He's not interested in them because he doesn't lack girls around him. Those are the best. How can these ordinary people compare? Shirley's words really made these girls unhappy. Why couldn't they compare? Each of them could be considered to have a good figure and a good face. Why couldn't they be compared to others? Although they didn't dare to say that they were peerless beauties, walking on the street, they were definitely irresistible to men after seeing them. If they were placed in an auto show or a netizens' press conference, they could definitely act as professional models. With such looks and figures, how could they be called ordinary people? How could those more inconspicuous girls live? Of course, this would always be their own thoughts. Little did they know that men would only look for them when they wanted to play. When they were in bed, they could treat them as treasures and call them treasures. However, after they were done, they would be absolutely heartless because no one would find such a girl to marry. Unless they really believed that, if you want to live, you have to be cuckolded, they wouldn't dare to marry a girl like them back home and raise them as treasures. If someone really did that, they probably wouldn't be able to raise their head for the rest of their life. They could only be a green-haired tortoise that was pointed at behind their backs. Who knew when they would look blindly on the internet, they might even see a familiar female lead in a leaked photo. If that really happened, it wouldn't just be a little cuckolded. Life would really be difficult. What should they do if they couldn't live? What else could they do? They could either endure it or leave. Not to mention ordinary people, even a big shot like Shirley wouldn't find such a girl. It wasn't that they were afraid of not being able to control their bodies, but they were afraid of not being able to control their hearts. Therefore, girls who walked on this path should really reflect on their own where the meaning of life was. Could it be that they could indulge themselves just for a Louis Vuitton bag or a pair of Prada shoes? Don't be unconvinced. My brother really doesn't like people like you. I'm not trying to discourage you. Shirley saw the disdainful looks on the girls' faces and didn't know why he took it so seriously. You all know Mr. Zwa from Sky Entertainment Corporation, right? Isn't she a once-in-a-lifetime beauty? As for these girls, they more or less like to inquire about the entertainment industry. Moreover, Sky Entertainment Group had built such a large film and television base on Qingdao. Of course, they had heard of Zhua Meiyan's name like thunder. They had also seen Zhua Meiyan's elegant demeanor in the entertainment weekly magazines. They all wanted to become a peerlessly charming strong woman like her. Let me tell you today, even Mr. Zhua is just a backup for my brother. You think you can do that? You can't blame my brother for not being interested. When Shirley said this, he was a little proud. All right, stop pestering my brother. Come over and give me a good back rub. I won't forget about the benefits. With the promise of benefits, these girls didn't care about these things anymore. Moreover, they really couldn't compare to director Zhua or Zhua Meiyan. Although there was a sense of defeat, they could accept the difference. Who asked them to be so mediocre? Yang Zhan resentfully put away his godly medicine. Looking at Su Yun's small life, he was really envious and jealous. He wasn't interested in so many beauties. He must be enjoying the service of emperors on a daily basis. Comparisons were odious. He could only find girls like this to vent his anger. Old Yang, we still have to talk about the matter just now. Shirley also lay down and enjoyed the back rub with Yang Zhen. About the house, you should be more honest with your brothers. We're all on the same side, and you're still earning so much. I've already spoken. You can't raise your head in front of my brother Su Yun. When Yang Zhan heard this, he was a little disappointed. However, he didn't dare to show his displeasure. Big brother Lei, let brother Su say it himself. I didn't give him enough face. 20% discount. And it's for the villa. I gave him 20%. Big brother Lei, you don't know what the lowest discount is for this house. Even when my brother-in-law wanted it, I gave him a 3% discount. I only gave you a 3% discount. I gave brother Su a 20% discount. Shirley laughed and remained unmoved. Old Yang, let's be honest. How did you get this piece of land? How much money did you spend? What methods did you use? Which leader in the city helped you? I'm very clear about all of these. I also have a rough understanding of the cost of the construction market. How much does a ton of cement cost? How much does a steel structure cost? How much does a construction worker earn a day, etc.? I know all about it. It's good that you know. Then you know that I have my difficulties too. Yang Zhen said. I have a butt full of bank loans. If I can't do anything, it's really... Sigh, how do I tell you? I really can't say it. There are too many difficulties. There are too many places to spend money. My neighborhood really doesn't make money. Shirley was a little unhappy when he heard this. Old Yang, you're a big boss. You really don't want to talk to me. Forget it. Boss Yang, when you were in the early stages of the project, you asked me for help a lot. Of course, after that, you gave me the job of hauling the dirt. But let me put it bluntly. This is nothing. Compared to the deals between you and the leaders, it's really a drop in the bucket, right? Yang Zhen's face was a little embarrassed. Big brother Lei, you really don't know my difficulties. Those leaders have power in their hands. If we don't have a good relationship with them, we won't be able to get the land. How can we carry out our work? Also, you know about the demolition. Sigh, my difficulties are too big. Really? Shirley laughed. Do you still need me to remind you how much you got this land? Big Brother Lei, we all know how much the land cost. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. Yang Zhen said, plus, I have to bribe those powerful people. That's a lot of money. I didn't earn much. Shirley made an expression of disbelief. The amount of money you said, didn't earn much, is probably something that many people can't earn in their lifetime. No, 8 lifetimes, right? Yang Zhen laughed dryly. That was his own ability. Those people couldn't earn it because they didn't have the ability. Who can be blamed for that? I can't let you rip me off just because I have the ability to earn a lot. During the demolition. I also helped you. I know what you did. Shirley smiled. I don't dare to say that I, Shirley, contributed a lot. But without my deterrence, you wouldn't have been able to demolish it so quickly, right? Yes. I'm very grateful to Big Brother Lei for this. Yang Zhen didn't deny that during the demolition, with the help of a local bully like him, it was indeed twice the result with half the effort. But he didn't lose out. Big Brother Lei, we're even now, right? For this project, I didn't forget about you, right? Shirley nodded and said, at that time, when this place was being demolished and evaluated, I also know a little about the evaluation company. Boss Yang's ability to make use of underhanded means is definitely the best I've ever seen. Big Brother Lei, you can't simply say this. Yang Zhen hurriedly said. He had indeed tampered with this matter, so when he evaluated it, the price of the land was relatively low. He had saved a lot of money on the demolition fees. If this matter were to spread, then he would be in trouble. Although the rice was already cooked, if this relocation blocked the sales office of the community, his loss wouldn't just be this little. Of course, I don't dare to simply say this. Shirley laughed. It's just that I'm familiar with the company that evaluated you. I also know the appraiser. I know all of them. They are all on the same side. Ha. Yang Zhen's laughter was a little dry. This wasn't funny at all. Chapter 1660. Shirley was, after all, Shirley. He was an underworld hero that could call you a brother. He was also a fiend that could slap the table and glare at you at any time. Although Yang Zhen was richer than Shirley and had a higher status than Shirley, he still had to show some respect to Shirley. When Shirley's face darkened, no one would dare to speak loudly. I'm not on the same side as them. Shirley's expression changed. I have their weakness in my hands. I didn't report them because of you, Boss Yang. I'm familiar with the appraisal company because that Deng guy's grandson used to work with me. I know the appraiser because that guy betrayed me with that Deng guy. Yang Zhen was stunned by Shirley's words. If there was a grudge between them, he shouldn't be implicated, right? Boss Yang, it's because they tampered with your evaluation that I didn't do anything to them. It's a lie that goes against my conscience. Tell me, how much face have I given you? The smile returned to Shirley's face. Boss Yang, Director Yang, have you thought about it? If word gets out that you had an unspeakable deal with the appraisal company during the demolition, then, your neighborhood, I don't even dare to imagine what the consequences will be. If news of this spread, it would definitely blow up. As long as the people knew that their interests had been damaged, they would definitely be unhappy. It wouldn't matter if 1 or 2 people made a fuss, but if news of this spread, there would be hundreds of households moving back. They would definitely make a fuss because of the losses they suffered. When the time came, if they really went to the city court to protest, would the secretary and the leaders be willing? They would definitely make him their target. If they really re-evaluated, he wouldn't even be able to calculate how much he would lose. Shirley was a bit too ruthless. Brother Lei, you can't just say that. Yang Zhen tried to turn the tables by denying it. That appraisal company was chosen by the residents themselves. It has nothing to do with me. Shirley laughed. You don't want to admit it? The main instigator is called Air Lazy. He's a hooligan. You gave Air Lazy 100,000 yuan and asked him to use it to pay off his loan sharks. Then, you forced him to find a way to instigate this matter. Brother Lei, wasn't this a little too dramatic? Are you writing a novel or shooting a movie? Yang Zhen couldn't take it anymore. Shirley shook his head. It doesn't matter if it's a movie or a novel, they all come from life. Let me tell you, the 100,000 yuan that second Lazy owed the loan sharks was borrowed from me. The reason why I know so much about this is because he told me everything. Mr. Yang, your 100,000 yuan has brought you hundreds of millions in profit, right? You're better at making money than I am. I can only get back 200,000 yuan if I lend my 100,000 yuan to a loan shark. It's nothing compared to yours. After pausing for a moment, Shirley continued, What's that phrase called again? They couldn't be compared at all. Yes, they couldn't be compared at all. Brother Lei, this joke is a little too much. Ha ha. Yang Zhen laughed as he gestured for the two girls beside him to leave. It seemed like he didn't want anyone to know about this. We're brothers. Everything can be discussed. Brother Lei gave me so much face. I'll remember it in my heart. I'll remember your kindness. Do you remember my kindness? Since I gave you face, shouldn't you give us face too? Shirley smiled. Old Yang, face is also a matter of reciprocity. It's all mutual. Am I right? Yang Zhen didn't dare to refute. He nodded. Yes. Brother Lei is right. It's mutual. It must be mutual. You're good, I'm good, everyone is good. That's what's really good. Then, about our brother Su's house, can't you give a more realistic price? Shirley stopped smiling and raised his voice. His posture seemed a little unfriendly, but it didn't seem like he meant it that way. Yang Zhen didn't know what to do. Su Yun didn't say anything all this while. He just sat by the side with a smile on his face. He quietly observed the changes in the two's mentality. This Yang Zhen seemed to be quite black-hearted. Shirley really enjoyed slaughtering him. The first cut was 5 to 6 million. Su Yun really wanted to know how much more flesh Shirley could cut off with the second cut. After a fierce struggle, Yang Zhen extended an index finger on his left hand and 3 fingers on his right hand. Brother Lei, I really can't earn a single cent from this. The villa in the center, other than the garden, also has a small swimming pool in the backyard. I'll fix it for Brother Su and let him move in. How about it? Enough. No. Enough. Sincerity. At the end, Yang Zhen was so agitated that the fat on his body trembled. This was really asking for his life. Selling a house for over 28 million, he gave Su Yun 13 million and sold it. Shirley's 2 slashes had cut off 15 million from him. Even if he was in the real estate business, even if he was rich enough, this was still 15 million. No one would be willing to let someone else spend this amount of money. What a joke. Good. Director Yang is really good. Shirley looked much more satisfied. This 470 square meter villa with a garden, a basement, and a small swimming pool wasn't expensive at all. Not to mention other things, just this 470 square meter villa, 13 million was only 27,000 per square meter. Just in this area of the Gold Coast, any random house could be sold for close to 30,000 per square meter. Not to mention that this was a villa in an excellent location. Hearing this price, Su Yun was instantly tempted. Even if this was an investment house, he could easily make a lot of money by selling it. Of course, Su Yun wasn't playing with this house as an investment. He didn't have the ability to be opportunistic, and he didn't have the intention to do so. He just wanted to have a home and give Ruan Qingshuang something to rely on. Good enough. Then, Brother Lei doesn't have any other requests, right? Although Yang Zhen's heart was pained, as long as he could shut Shirley's mouth, then everything would be fine. Using the smallest price to make up for the biggest loss. A businessman was a businessman. When it came to profit, his brain was clearer than anyone else. Director Young is so good. What other requests do I dare to have? Of course not. Shirley said, but, as soon as he said this, Yang Zhen's face began to change. What the F***ck is this? I really want to ask, is this house worth this price? Shirley said, Boss Yang, I definitely believe that you will make a profit. If you don't make a profit, then you can't sell it. After all, you are a businessman. But how much you will make, I can't say. I just think that you will make a lot of money. Let's just make it 10 million. Brother Lei. This isn't a cabbage. Yang Zhen's mouth twitched a little. I'm really giving you my all. You can't mess with me anymore. Shirley's attitude seemed to be very firm. 10 million. You don't need that small change. Just treat it as a red packet for Brother Sue's housewarming. Think about it, even the boss of Sky Entertainment Group is living in your neighborhood. Then, do you have to worry about not having enough money to buy your house? There will definitely be a lot of people fighting over it. Old Yang. Yang Zhen's heart was bleeding profusely. He had seen black-hearted people before, but he had never seen such a black-hearted person. This Shirley was truly ruthless. No wonder he could become the boss of the underworld. No wonder so many of his underlings were convinced by him. Yang Zhen was really impressed. However, he was even more impressed by this Su Yun. Without saying a word, he could make Shirley help him so wholeheartedly. This was a truly terrifying person. I'm really... Yang Zhen felt like crying. Don't waste time. Is it okay or not? Just say it. Let's settle this matter today. If it's not settled, then no one can leave. Shirley's words were very meaningful. Chapter 1661. Yang Zhen now completely understood that tonight's bath center was a feast at Hongmen to him. He had fallen into the hands of women. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to find a few beautiful girls to have fun with, he wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Now that he was riding a tiger, it was hard to get off. Many things were very difficult to refuse in a face-to-face situation. This was different from a phone call. This was also the reason why Shirley didn't call him to make this request. If it was on the phone, Yang Zhen had plenty of excuses to postpone this matter. But in a face-to-face situation, the tiger had shown its power. If he didn't agree, he wouldn't even have a place to run. Could it be that he really had to wait to be bitten? Yang Zhen knew in his heart that even if Shirley was arrogant, he wouldn't dare to bite him to death. After all, his status was there. But this was really not a good thing. If he really got bitten, it would really be uncomfortable. Not only would it be embarrassing, but in the future on Qingdao, he was afraid that he would be harassed for everything big or small. As the saying goes, if you're not afraid of a thief stealing, remember the thief. Now, Shirley was thinking about the house in his hands. If he didn't give a satisfactory answer, he wouldn't be allowed to leave this place. However, he believed that Shirley would still have a way to make this Gold Coast a difficult place to sell. Moreover, his weakness was in Shirley's hands. He only needed to anonymously call the country's high-level inspection team. When they came here to investigate, he, Yang Zhen, would be in big trouble. When Shirley didn't admit it, he couldn't point at his nose and say anything. After thinking about this matter, Yang Zhen couldn't find a way to vent the resentment in his heart. In the end, he could only sit aside with a long face. He didn't want to talk now because he wanted to be alone and calculate his costs. Boss Yang, calculate it carefully and think about it carefully. Seeing that Yang Zhen had calmed down, Shirley didn't press him too hard. This matter is really simple. You know better than anyone how much you spent to get that piece of land. How much do you want to give Brother Sue's villa, courtyard, and swimming pool? How much can it cost? 600 to 700 square meters of land? That's only 1 mu of land. When you bought the land, 1 mu of land wasn't so expensive. Yang Zhen wanted to cry. It wasn't easy for him to get the land. It was impossible for him to get 1 mu of land at such a high price. This wasn't the diamond district in the center of Beijing. But he had to spend a lot of money to get the land. He had to bribe some people. After he got the land, he had to build a house and design a public space for the district. He had to design all kinds of flowers and plants, as well as landscape gardens. Building high-rise buildings could save money. 2 mu of land could be built with a whooshing sound. Building 20 to 30 floors in one go could be sold to dozens of families. Therefore, the price was relatively cheaper. However, he was the only one who occupied such a large piece of land in this villa. Besides, the starting price he asked for wasn't high. Of course, this wasn't high in comparison. In the eyes of the rich, it wasn't expensive. Those who could afford it were not lacking in money and had status. Yang Zhan was also interested in making friends with them, so the price of 28 million yuan per set was not exaggerated. In the eyes of the poor, it would definitely be a sky-high price. Because the poor couldn't even afford a 2-bedroom of 100 square meters. Since he named it the Golden Coast Garden District, it wasn't targeted at the low-end residents. It was targeted at the high-end residents. Brother Lei, I really have nothing to say about the calculation method you gave me. Yang Zhan said with a bitter face. The land in this district is valuable. Everyone knows that. The price I paid for this land isn't much, but I have to spend some money to build the house, right? I've already calculated it for you. 10 million, that's not a small amount. Shi Lei was dead set on giving this amount of money, not a cent more. He also felt that this amount of money was enough for Yang Zhan's capital. However, Yang Zhan didn't think so. It was enough, but he couldn't make money. That was a loss. He had to earn at least 10 to 20 million from this villa. Otherwise, he might as well build it into a high-rise building. High-rise buildings would make more money. This 1 mu of land was enough for 3 households to build up to 35 floors of a 150 square meter residence in one go. How much could he earn? A household could sell for a few million. Why wouldn't he do it? This villa was to improve the quality of the district, but that was under the premise of making money. Now, Shi Lei actually said that it was enough for him to keep his capital. Yang Zhan's loss was too much. He really couldn't bear to let it go. A villa worth 28 million, and he was only going to give 10 million? Humph, humph. This was really going to make him suffer. But everything had a trade-off. Yang Zhan finally made a decision. As long as he could make friends with Su Yun and Shi Lei with this 10 to 20 million loss, it wasn't a loss. Moreover, there was one thing that he needed Shi Lei's help with. Brother Lei, I'll give you face. No matter how much I lose, it's not as important as having you two as my best friends. Yang Zhan said, Brother Su, this 10 million is really the cost. If I, Yang Zhan, am lying, I'll be struck by lightning. Su Yun believed this. There was no need for him to be struck by lightning. He absolutely believed this. 10 million to buy such a high-end villa in such a high-end district. Su Yun suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. Shi Lei was really awesome. This job was done beautifully. Director Yang, you have to keep your capital. Otherwise, I'll feel bad. Su Yun finally spoke. Although it was polite, it clearly told Yang Zhan that he accepted the price of the villa. Shi Lei was still unwilling. Keep your capital. Of course, it's enough. Brother, you don't have to worry about this. If it's not enough, Boss Yang won't give you a free decoration. Ha ha ha, come on. Let's decide on the decoration style today. Boss Yang has people working for him. This small matter can be solved in minutes. Yang Zhan was completely speechless. Was he still trying to cheat him of the renovation fee? If he were to add in another 2 million, then his $28 million house would be equivalent to giving 8 million to Su Yun. Phew. Yang Zhan really wanted to take 2 quick-acting heart-relieving pills. He really couldn't take it anymore. How can you let Director Yang do this? Su Yun didn't expect Shi Lei to be so persistent. This was really enough. Boss Yang said it himself. If we don't agree, we won't give him face. Shirley said, Brother Su Yun, face is something that comes and goes. Since Boss Yang gave us face, we have to give him face too. Yang Zhan was convinced by Shirley's twisted logic. If I give you face, it's saving money for you? If you give me face, it's spending my money. This was really speechless. He really couldn't find any reason to cooperate with Shirley. But for the greater benefits in the future, he endured it. Old Yang, am I right? Shirley smiled. Yang Zhan's heart was bleeding and tears were about to break down, but he still had to put on a smile. Yes. Otherwise, you won't give me face. Hey. Su Yun couldn't help but want to laugh at the fake smile on his face. But Su Yun didn't know why, but he didn't feel guilty at all about taking advantage of such a black-hearted real estate boss. Instead, he was very happy to support Shirley's actions. Then I can only accept deferentially. Su Yun smiled. As for the renovation, Director Yang, just do as you see fit. It's fine as long as it matches the villa's style. I don't know much about this, but I believe Director Yang knows more about it than me. Director Su, don't worry. Leave this to me. Yang Zhan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had really become someone's errand boy. Shirley knew that Yang Zhen needed psychological comfort now. He went forward and patted his shoulder. Old Yang, let's go. I'll find a private room for you to relax. These few girls, which one do you like? All of them. Yang Zhen was depressed. He was really angry. Did you all hear that? It's your honor that Boss Yang likes you. Take Boss Yang to have fun. Serve Boss Yang well. If Boss Yang tells me who didn't make him happy, then immediately pack up and get lost. With a single sentence from Shirley, the girls all rushed towards Yang Zhen. Chapter 1662. Yang Zhen endured his heartache and left with the girls. Looking at these ordinary people, although there were a lot of them, they were definitely not worth 20 million for a night of fun. Even AF * King first-rate female star would not have such an appearance fee, right? Damn it. Although Yang Zhan had a smile on his face, he was cursing in his heart. Yang Zhen could not let this 20 million go to waste. He wanted to keep Shirley, but he also had another request. Qingdao was a city that was slightly unbalanced to a certain extent. The average cost of living here was not much lower than a first-rate city, but the average income here could only be considered as a second-rate city. Because of this situation, many people in Qingdao had a particularly difficult housing requirement. There was no way around it, they could not afford it. Many people who only earned 3,000 to 5,000 a month could not possibly go to the outskirts of GMO City to buy a house that could easily cost tens of thousands of yuan, right? That day, they would have to travel over 100 kilometers to get to work. They would not even have a place to cry. Therefore, some affordable housing became a project that the country needed to support. Even people with a monthly salary of 3,000 to 5,000 yuan could not afford to buy a house, so those low-income families could not survive in such a city. Not to mention that they could not afford to shop in the big shopping malls like Sunshine Department Store. Even the street stalls in Li Village were expensive enough. Putting forward a proposal regarding the affordable housing was definitely a matter that would benefit the country and the people. However, even though the intention was good, it would often change in the end. Why? The reason was simple. There would always be people who wished to get a share of the profits. The real estate companies that wanted to bid for the affordable housing all had a common goal. That was to let the people remember their good deeds, to let the people know that it was their efforts that allowed the affordable housing to exist today, to let the low-income families have a warm home, and to make it profitable. Of course, making it profitable did not mean that they would ask the low-income families for money. This housing was originally a business that would cost them money. However, businessmen were still businessmen, they were not philanthropists, and the government knew that as well. Therefore, the real estate companies that bid for the affordable housing would definitely receive some benefits, and these benefits were numerous. It couldn't be said that there were all kinds of things, but they definitely wouldn't let the developer suffer a loss. Usually, at times like this, whoever won the project would get a good piece of local land. The real estate developer could decide what kind of construction this piece of land could be used for. It could be a high-end residential area or a high-end shopping mall. In any case, the land given was definitely very rich. That was why real estate companies were interested in doing affordable housing. Moreover, as the benefits increased and the state subsidies increased, bidding for the construction of affordable housing became a hot commodity. Anyone who said that they didn't want both fame and fortune was absolutely bullsh*t. This time, as soon as there was a movement, Yang Zhan began to inquire about this matter. He also quickly found out that the person in charge of this affordable housing bidding task was a deputy director of the district's Housing and Construction Bureau. And this deputy director's relationship with Shirley wasn't far, they were cousins of his great-grandfather. Moreover, these two people should be the most promising among the 5 generations of the Shi family. One of them had become a deputy director, while the other was a master who could shake Guqin Island with a stomp of his feet. Therefore, the relationship between the two was also relatively good. During the holidays, they would visit relatives and drink together. They were very close. Since this deputy director Shi was in charge of the bidding for this project, then if Yang Zhan could get Shirley to open his mouth, this matter would be settled. At that time, he would gain both fame and fortune. Why wouldn't he do such a good thing? This was also the reason why no matter how excessive Shirley's request was today, he gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. In the end, it was all for one benefit. He had already given Shirley 20 million face. According to Shirley's attitude of reciprocity, Yang Zhan believed that as long as he opened his mouth, Shirley would definitely not refuse him. People in the underworld were all prideful, and they were even more particular in doing things. Shirley could become an overlord because he was particular in doing things. Thinking of this, Yang Zhan felt more or less relieved. He enjoyed the comfort of having a few mouths on his body as he traveled around the world. Yang Zhan stretched his waist comfortably, spread his plump legs, and closed his eyes. From time to time, he would let out moans of pleasure. 20 million Enjoy it well. Shirley knew that Su Yun didn't like this, or it could be said that he didn't like these girls at all. Therefore, he accompanied him to the 2nd floor of the bathing city. There was a stage and a variety of programs every day. There were crosstalks, vulgar but cheerful twosomes, singing and dancing performances, solo performances with golden voices, everything was available. Shirley and Su Yun came to a private room located half a floor in front of the stage. They drank tea while watching the programs. Brother Su Yun, how is it? Are you satisfied with the price? If you still feel that it's not suitable, then I'll give him some pressure and see if he can still spit it out. Brother Lei, please don't be like this. If you offend someone because of me buying a house and saving that little bit of money, I really can't afford it. Su Yun, with the current price, I already don't dare to believe it. When Director Yang said that he would give me a 20% discount, I was already tempted. Hee. 20% discount? Don't listen to his bullsh*t. Even if he gives you a 20% discount, he still earns half of it. Shirley said, these real estate people are all black-hearted. They definitely don't earn enough money. He can earn so much in this neighborhood, and he wants to earn more in our hands. We definitely can't give it to him. If we give him the capital and don't let him lose money, then I'm being loyal to him. This villa was renovated for 10 million. Yang Zhan probably had to calculate more if he wanted to save the capital. Shirley's cut was just right. It made his heart ache, but he had to do it. If he really had to lose money, then Yang Zhan definitely wouldn't agree. This was the bottom line of a businessman. He could earn less, but he had to earn more. Even if he only earned 10,000 yuan from this villa, he had to earn it. He definitely couldn't lose money or play for free. Because Shirley's control of his strength was just right and didn't touch Yang Zhan's bottom line, today's matter could be resolved so happily. Otherwise, they might really part on bad terms. Brother Lei, I don't know how to thank you. Su Yun, how about this, the money you save for me, I'll give. Brother, you better not say this. Shirley said with a straight face, Brother Lei, you know what kind of person I am. If you do this to me, then you're slapping me in the face. Can we still be friends in the future? Su Yun smiled embarrassedly. Then I should at least express some gratitude. If I don't express my gratitude, I'll feel uncomfortable in my heart. Let me express my gratitude more or less. Brothers don't talk about this. For me, this is just a small matter. Shirley said, moreover, old Yong must have something to ask of me, so this matter is not a problem for me and him. I don't owe him any favor. He will owe me a big favor later. Su Yun smiled and picked up the teacup. Sometimes, this matter was like this. Maybe you can't solve it with 1,000 ways, but it's just a matter of words from others. Although he could solve a lot of problems, this matter was really something that Shirley could solve. When the time comes, you can rest assured and live there. If his decoration is not to your liking, then brother, you can tell me directly. I will definitely let him smash it and redo it for you. Shirley said, when old Yong is done with his fun, I will immediately let my underling take us to sign this contract. Today, we will pay him and settle this matter, lest this old fox says he drank too much and doesn't admit it. He might be able to do it, really. These people did have the ability to turn hostile and not admit it. Su Yun also knew this. He also nodded, indicating that this matter should be settled as soon as possible. Chapter 1663. That night, Yang Zhen was tormented enough. Later on, when he really couldn't take it anymore, he used his special pill to do it a few more times. Only then did he manage to suppress the flame in his heart. The few girls who were in charge of accompanying him couldn't help but sigh at his age. It really wasn't simple. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to finalize the contract today, Su Yun really couldn't stay here any longer. The vulgar performance made people feel bored, but there was a group of people who were bored to the point that their balls hurt watching with relish. Perhaps the pressure of modern people was really too great, so they had to rely on these things to satisfy the emptiness in their hearts. Shirley's performance was not considered honorable, but there were many places like this in the world. Some countries boycotted it, some turned a blind eye, and some chose to support it. But this was a situation that could never be eliminated. Since ancient times, there was no way to completely eliminate this kind of place to seek pleasure. What was the reason for this? There were different theories. There was no lack of famous people in history. For example, the 8 beauties of Qin Huai, Ma Xionglan, Bian Yujing, Li Xiongjuan, Lu Rushi, Dong Xiaowan, Gu Meixing, Ko Bai Men, Chen Yuanyuan. Each one had more stories than the last. The story of Li Xiongjuan marrying Ho Fengyu was written into a peach blossom fan by Kong Shongren. Gu Meixing married Gong Dingxue. Gong Dingxue first surrendered to Li Zicheng, then surrendered to the Qing dynasty and became the Minister of Rights. Gu Meixing became a first-rank wife. Lu Rushi married the leader of the Donglin party, Qian Qianyi. After Qian Qianyi surrendered to the Qing dynasty, Lu Rushi didn't want to go with him. She stayed in Nanjing to support the resistance against the Qing dynasty. Ko Bai Men married Zhu Guobi, the Duke of Bao Guo of the Chongzhen dynasty. Zhu Guobi abandoned Ko Bai Men and was put under house arrest after surrendering to the Qing dynasty. Ko Bai Men returned to Nanjing to raise money to redeem Zhu Guobi, but refused to reconcile. Dong Xiaowan married Mao Pai. There was a legend that concubine Dong Yi of Xuanji was Dong Xiaowan. Chen Yuanyuan married Wu Sangue. It was because Li Zicheng's subordinate, Lu Zongmin, captured Chen Yuanyuan after breaking into Beijing that Wu Sangue was so angry that he led the Qing army into the pass for a woman. These stories that had been passed down to the present were naturally different from the stories of the current girls. To a certain extent, those femme fatale who were proficient in the 4 arts were definitely not comparable to these girls. There were many talented girls in the 8 famous alleys in Beijing, and the most famous ones were probably Little Fengxian and Cai Jinhua. Little Fengxian helped Yunnan's governor Cai Yi escape from Yanjing. After Cai Yi returned to Yunnan, he launched a campaign against Yuan Hugua. Cai Jinhua was married to Hong Jun, the top scholar. Later, she followed her husband to Europe as the ambassador's wife. They were definitely not on the same level. When Su Yun-hui thought of these stories, she was also thinking about human psychology. Why were so many people addicted to material things and became slaves to material things? She really needed those professors who were experts in sociology to think about it carefully. Finally, after nearly 4 hours of Yang Zhan's haggling, Su Yun ended the night's bargaining tour. As soon as Yang Zhan put on his clothes, Shi Lei proposed to finalize the contract that night. Yang Zhan, who was already mentally prepared, didn't hesitate and immediately settled the matter. Su Yun also straightforwardly paid the money. Su Yun still had some money in his hands. After all, he was the manager of Sky Entertainment. Moreover, Shenzhong Xingkai Hotel also had a fixed income that went into his account. Yang Zhan also promised Su Yun that if he gave him 2 months, he would definitely renovate it into a palace that he could live in. With Yang Zhan's promise, Shi Lei finally let him go. This also allowed Yang Zhan to let out a sigh of relief. If Shi Lei was satisfied, then he would have a chance to meet with Deputy Director Shi to discuss the matter of the affordable housing tenders. Yang Zhan didn't have any understanding of Deputy Director Shi, but he was sure of one thing. Under the current strict policy, everyone was well aware of it. The General Secretary had said that they had to stick to the principle of killing tigers and flies together. They had to strengthen the restrictions and supervision of the exercise of power. They had to form a disciplinary mechanism that wouldn't corrupt, a defensive mechanism that wouldn't corrupt, and a protection mechanism that wouldn't easily corrupt. As the saying goes, if you want to forge iron, you need to be strong. Moreover, he also said that he would insist on treating both the symptoms and root causes, comprehensive treatment, combining punishment and prevention simultaneously, paying attention to the prevention policy, more scientific and effective prevention and control of corruption, and unswervingly lead the construction of a clean and honest government and the fight against corruption to a deeper level. Listen. Listen to this boldness. Be unswerving. Lead the party conduct and clean government as well as the fight against corruption to a deeper level. This was no longer a matter of a gust of wind, it was a matter of continuous capture. It was hard to calculate how many headaches this would cause, but it was definitely a decision that would make all of Huaxia applaud. Yang Zhan, on the other hand, belonged to the category of people who had a headache because they were the initiators of those sugar-coated bullets. Without these sugar-coated bullets, the construction of a clean government would not be so difficult. However, the competition in this industry was so fierce. Everyone was in the real estate business, so their qualifications were about the same. Therefore, some people had that mentality. In a fair competition, it was unknown whether or not they could win the bid. It might be yours, but it might not be yours. But what if he used a little trick? That would be different. The profit would be 100% in your pocket. The bidding also became a process. He directly decided on the candidate internally. When the time came, he would spend money to find 2 bidders. After going through the process, the matter would be directly confirmed. Why wouldn't he be happy about it? This was like a flame. The more it burned, the bigger it became. Then, when it could not be controlled, what would it become? It became an unwritten rule. Everyone did the same. It was a competition of connections. In the entire Huaxia, people who could play freely all had one thing in common, and that was that they had a strong network of connections. When your friends were all high-level officials or company CEOs, then whatever you wanted to do, you would have an advantage over those people who were all sector-level officials or company bosses. This seemed to be a social circle, but in the end, it was a competition of showing off. People who talked about who they knew every day relied on interpersonal relationships to do things. As for their strength, it could only be said that they were not bad, but definitely not top-notch. Yang Zhan wanted to take the old path that he was used to at this time, but he would definitely be rejected by Deputy Bureau Chief Shi. No one wanted to find trouble for themselves in the limelight of the anti-corruption fight. Therefore, Shi Lei was the breakthrough point. Since Shi Lei had begged him today, then Yang Zhan would definitely take the attitude of taking advantage of others to deal with this matter. He believed that Shi Lei would lose face and throw this problem to Deputy Bureau Chief Shi. In any case, There were only 2 capable people in the 5 generations of the Sher family. They would definitely help the other party sincerely, right? When the favor card was played, it was sometimes very useful. Young Jean thought about this problem proudly in his heart. He happily signed the contract that would make him lose a lot of money. Su Yun only needed to take this contract to the sales office tomorrow to handle the procedures. The independent villa with the best feng shui in the Golden Coast Garden District would become his personal property. This feeling was really not bad. Su Yun had to understand why girls nowadays did not marry if they did not have a house. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.